Ayo, welcome back everybody to another episode of Nerd Escape with Ryan and Declan. I am your host Ryan.
And I'm your co-host Declan. What's going on, guys? Sorry we're
We're
a little late this week. We were busy this weekend. Life ran into the way, but we're coming at you guys now, and we'll have next week out on time.
yeah, I was just
Um,
about to say I had a wedding this weekend with two very close friends of mine got married and ended up doing like post wedding stuff with them all day Sunday as well. So I
I had work stuff. We were both just busy,
yeah,
so
we were just both super busy this weekend, so it just didn't happen. Normally we try and record like Friday nights or Saturdays, um, and typically we can make ourselves available to do that just for a couple hours, even if we've got plans and stuff. But just didn't work out this weekend. Like I was, on the Saturday I was up, in the morning getting ready. Spent the entire day at the wedding. Didn't get home until like 3 in the morning, and then the next day up early, get at it, start doing stuff, go out for lunch with the bride and groom, and ended up going back to their place and hanging out all day and didn't get home till 3 in the morning. So that's just the way it was this weekend.
yeah. So just wanted to throw out a quick apologies, but yeah, we'll be good for next week, and we're getting your episode in for this week.
To all five of you who care if we miss an upload scheduled date, um, my bad. But yeah,
Anyways, we're
sometimes
going through
things
our
happen.
on the docket today. We are going to be talking about Alien Earth. Now, mind you, when this episode is being recorded, the next episode's already been out, right?
Does it come out Tuesdays?
Pretty sure it's already out now.
Oh, well, I
Anyways, so
haven't
we'll be
watched it
talking
yet.
about yeah, we'll be talking about that when we do our next episode in a few days. We'll record that for the weekend. Then after that, we have Peacemaker. And then we're going to talk about Marvel Zombies for a little bit. And then I'm going to touch on Silksong just for a little bit. I just want to bring up a cool little statistic that I heard. And it's a very cool game if you haven't heard about it. And then we're going to end off with a very fun tier list. That's movies that are coming out in the next 2 years. So the end of this year, 2026 and 2027. And we have a tier list just ranking our how hype we are. There are a few TV shows that I snuck in there just because I think they deserve to be talked about. But other than that, it's mainly like theatrical releases. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Should be fun.
Also, this I've avoided like mentioning what city I live in. Um, I don't know why. I don't really actually give a shit. Just kind of been doing that. But I live in London, Ontario. That is where Comic Con is happening this coming weekend. It is Tuesday today, right?
Yes, today is
Yeah. So we're
Tuesday,
recording on the Tuesday.
the
So
9th.
on Sunday, Declan and our dad are hoping to come down to London for the day from their city and spend the day at Comic Con with me. My buddy Stuart runs a booth there every year, um, and I help him out with that. So I'm there all weekend, helping him run his booth. Um, just the more people that can do that with him, the better, so that we can all take time away from the booth and enjoy the con. But if it's just him there, then he can't step out from the booth. So yeah, it's just a fun thing that I do every year. Last year had like a pretty cool lineup of people that were there,
Yeah,
and we'll save like stories about last year for next episode. Um, but this year,
yeah.
not as
The
crazy of a lineup or anything. Nobody I'm like super excited to see or whatever. But there's always a lot of great booths there, a lot of great
right.
cosplayers, just good people and good times. And there's the whole art room is awesome. The artist alley or whatever. There's always tons of cool artwork and stuff. So we were thinking of doing a live in person podcast at Comic Con, probably just behind the booth that my buddy runs.
Yeah,
So
and that
we've
will
been
be
toying with
strictly
that idea.
a bonus. That won't be like us doing our Alien Earth review live. That'll be us kind of reporting on the stuff there and just having fun and shooting the shit.
Yeah,
Because that is kind of hindering off me trying to get my shift covered on that Sunday. But if I can, or get it swapped, sorry, I'm there, and that's going to be just a ton of fun to be able to do. Do an
yeah.
episode together in person at Comic Con will be a bunch of fun. So yeah, that is our plan.
I
But that
mean,
will be
this
a
is the
bonus.
Nerd
So
Escape podcast. It's going to be pretty much purely nerdy shit there. I mean, we're going
right,
to be hanging out at a Star Trek booth all weekend, so yeah, I just figured it'd be a cool thing to do. We can
yeah,
have, while we're recording, if people are like, "What are you guys doing?" We're like, "Oh, we're doing a podcast called Nerd Escape." Like, if people want to show off their cosplay or whatever, I just thought that would be a cool idea.
yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna do that most likely, and that'll be just like a bonus episode. So let us know in the comments if you're hyped for that or if that's something you'd want to see.
You're
So yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, let's
All
get
right,
into it.
moving. Cool. Alien Earth. What did you think of this week's episode of Alien Earth?
It was good. Every episode's been good. It was cool to see an episode that was like back to form with like the Alien franchise, where the rest of
Yes.
this show has been very different in a lot of
We talked
ways.
about that, how different it's been
Yeah,
in a good
which I've
way,
been
but very
enjoying.
different.
Yeah, it's been great. But this was cool to see. Like, this episode was essentially like an Alien movie, and
Right.
the guy who wrote the show, I'm blanking on his name. He directed this episode because I guess what he had said is like this episode is like my take on like an Alien movie, and if anyone was going to direct this episode that I wrote, it was going to be me.
Right.
So it very much felt like his own little alien film, and it was really well done. The suspense was great. There was like some good like red herrings, and I thought the writing was well done. It also provides a lot more context for some of the characters that we've met so far, including the cyborg dude that survived the ship crashing, as well as gave us context for why the ship crashed in a prodigy city. We found out that there was a saboteur and that they were coerced by Boy Cavalier to execute this plan to crash the ship in prodigy territory so that he could get access to the aliens. And yeah, it was just really really fun, cool episode. Um, and like I said, like back to form. You could watch this as like its own
Yeah,
alien
that's what I
film,
was
and it
gonna
was really
say.
good.
Is that's why before we went live, I was like, I don't have too much to talk about because it's very self-contained.
Yeah,
It's like you could watch this on its own like volition, and it would be good because it's like, as you said, I didn't know that about what the director had mentioned, but now that you mention it, it makes complete sense.
yeah,
Um, or sorry, not the director, the writer who directed this episode.
yeah. The
Um,
creator of the series
yeah,
decided nobody else can direct this episode. There's been different directors throughout so far,
right.
but he was like, I gotta take the reins for this one because this is my alien movie essentially, and I thought it was really well done because of that. So
Same. But with that being said, because it was self-contained, there wasn't too much uh, that was left in this episode directly to talk about, to lead forward necessarily. I found like it was pretty. We're going forward now in the show, but not like drip feeding us too much in this episode. Unless I missed something, but I thought it was pretty, cut and dry as far as the
yeah,
story in this episode. Um, yeah, did you have anything? I really didn't have too much. Sorry, I sound like an idiot, but I really just was like, yeah, it was really good. I just, as far as it impacting the rest of the show, it was like, as you just said, it was its own kind of, had its own feel to it, and to the point where, as you said, it felt like it brought back to form. Like it didn't feel like the rest of the show almost,
yeah,
which isn't a bad thing for this kind of For this kind of show, I don't mind that kind of switching up the tones and the rhythms and whatever. That's actually cool. I like that, but it didn't really push us forward too much as far as
Well, it just
like
provided context
conspiracy.
for stuff that was kind of in
Exactly.
the air already in the show, and I thought it was very intelligently done in that way. Um, they had clearly intentionally left some stuff unsaid or unexplained, that they
Correct. Yeah.
intended to explain with this episode. So I thought that was really cool. And yeah, I mean, outside of having a few context clues to other stuff that was previously shown in the series or stuff that's being built up towards now, it didn't really. It was kind of self-contained, its own sort of thing. So my dog is
Yeah.
scratching at my door, but she's not making
Mhm.
another cameo on this episode. I'm not trying to climb over my bed right now.
Anyway, so that'll be this week for Alien, but going into next week, it should be a big look. We're going into the final three episodes here, right? So we should have some stuff cooking. And as we've talked about with them making this universe, I would be really shocked if this was. I wouldn't be mad, but I'd be really shocked if this season was self-contained, or not self-contained, but really wrapped up within one season. Like I'm assuming at the end of this season, we'll have a bunch of questions that leads into
Yeah,
other stuff.
and I hope so,
So,
because I hope to get another season of this show. It's been really fun to
right.
watch. They're clearly expanding the whole universe. In our list of upcoming stuff that we're excited for, we have Predator Badlands in there, which is coming out
Yep.
in November, I think mid-November.
Yep.
That's obviously gonna. I think they're, I think we've spoken about this before, but I think they're trying to tie everything into each other, and set up like a new version of Alien versus Predator, which is exciting for a couple of reasons. One, the original Alien versus Predator was a lot of fun, but it was corny and goofy and whatever. I think they have an opportunity to do it in a more like grounded, well written sense. Obviously, no hate on the original movie. It's something I enjoy, but it's not exactly a masterpiece by any stretch.
It's fun
So
bad.
yeah, it's yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping that they do something really cool with it. For any of you who've seen the trailer for Predator Badlands, one of the main characters is a synth, so it's obviously tying in some of the concepts that are heavily shown in this series. So I think they're kind of trying to make this like broader universe of film and TV, and I'm here for it.
With
So
it. With it.
yeah, yeah,
Um, cool. Moving on to a thing I am hyped to talk about this week. Peacemaker. Oof,
yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
This episode was really, really
They
good.
were deep in their bag with this one.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just to kick it off, I love the obviously spoilers. We've already gone through this. Um, we're doing episode by episode, just assume that. Um, but with this episode, with the whole how how you were talking about, we talked about this off air, about how superhero movies in general are not like on the same echelon of film as like a Tarantino movie because of the direct care of the craft itself, whereas these characters are coming from a different medium of content, right? They're coming from a page, right?
mm-hmm.
This is a weird thing to say, but this show has kind of, I'm not saying it's a Quentin Tarantino level like show, or he doesn't make shows, but to screen thing. But the amount of detail that James Gunn cares about is actually so like unbelievable. I love this guy. I love
Yeah,
him. He cares so much about these characters to like the point where it's like it's more than just him adapting them from the page to the screen. Um, like it's just the amount of we were talking about this. The he is wearing a yellow. Rick Flag Jr. is introduced back in this episode,
the
and the
alternate
symbolism.
universe version. Well, we saw the
Yes,
actual main universe version of him too, actually, in the
yeah,
first scene of the episode. We'll
but
talk
he
about
has
that
the
in a
same.
second, though.
Yeah, he has the same shirt color on as when Peacemaker kills him, and it's the same one that it's in the comics. And then a bunch of the stuff that he's handled, even in the previous two episodes, with how we've talked about how it's in a different universe, but how well it was executed and transferred. And then in this universe, we've been building up towards, oh, everything looks like perfect, like too perfect. And something me
Yeah.
and Ryan have discussed was, if you've noticed in the show, in this alternate universe, there's like almost entirely no people of color in the background or anywhere within this city.
I
And
think
it's like,
upon review of it, I
yeah,
don't think there's a single person of color. And also, one of the things that I saw pointed out by, I can't even remember which channel it is actually now that I think about it, but one of the like breakdown channels that I watch also pointed out that in um, the what do you call that? Like the intro to the show where they do like the dance sequence, you see both versions of Amelia Harcourt's character from each universe. You see Peacemaker's brother and father from the other universe. We don't get an alternate universe version of um, uh, the black girl. I can't remember her character's name right now.
oh,
Um, fuck.
yeah, wait. Let's just go over to here real quick, Zach. Leota, right? That's what you're talking about?
Leota, yeah. So we
Yeah.
don't get an alternate version of her or the Argus agent chick that is, I believe, Hispanic. So we're not getting like alternate universe versions in the even in the intro like song and dance thing of people of color. So it seems that like those people don't exist in this other universe.
For like whatever reason.
Well, and it seems like this universe is all picture perfect and whatever, and it's like we know that Peacemaker's dad is a like a KKK leader, very extreme racist in the main universe. So it's like, oh, he's like this totally different guy that's like revered in society and held at a high standard and is a hero and whatever in this other universe. But it's like it stands to reason that if in this other universe there is no people of color in America, or at least in this town or this state or whatever, then he could be still held at that high regard
Right.
amongst society, even if he was still a extreme racist. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Um, Another thing that
Yeah,
I
so those,
noticed is that
yeah, sorry, go
when
ahead. I was
his
gonna say those were the main things I found like super interesting in this
yeah
episode. But
another
anyways, yes,
thing
go
I
ahead.
noticed is that little two part thing. One, um, the alternate universe Harcourt seemed really surprised that Chris, aka Peacemaker, ran in to save those people without his suit, which kind of begs the question: is he normally not like willing to put his life on the line, if not with without certain things at play, like that he's prepared and whatever? Like he probably this other universe version of him is not the type to just run in and unprepared and unequipped and go and save the day. And then also his brother comes in and blows up the helicopter and it just fucking lands in the street and like could have easily hurt people. So it seems like
Right.
they're kind of reckless in the way that they help uh, in their heroism or whatever. Also, Peacemaker's bike has like rocket launchers and uh, like Gatling guns on it and shit. So it's like again that also kind of calls into question like, are they willing to put the public in harm's way to save the day, sort of thing. So these are kind of questions that you have at the end of this episode.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, it was very telling for the keen eye. But if you were just watching the episode and you didn't pick up on any of this stuff, I would assume it was just a cool like action episode with some cool implications as to what, in this universe you have kind of the opposite relationship dynamic between him and Harcourt, where in his universe he's the one pining after her without reciprocation, and in this universe it seems to be the opposite, where he had cheated on her, and or his other version of himself had cheated on her, and she was the one holding out for him. So, you know, if you had not picked up on any of this stuff, it might just seem like, oh, this is cool. They're setting up like him figuring out what he wants from his life, and it was a great action episode and whatever. But yeah, to us, like I picked up on all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Very
And
interesting.
you mentioned off there the one scene, your favorite scene. Do you want to tell people your
Oh,
action scene?
yeah, when he just goes in and just fucks all those people up was so great, dude.
Oh, great.
James Gunn is so good at writing stuff like that where it's like a very serious thing is happening, but it's still comedic. Like when I think they're called the Sons of Liberty, right?
Mm, I think
Um,
you're right.
but when that terror group or whatever, freedom fighters, whatever, we might end up sympathizing with them later, is why I make that distinction, because they're obviously framed as like a terror organization right now, but it might be that they're trying to like liberate the government and its people
They're
from
housing the last black man alive.
yeah, or something like that. Like they might be trying to fight for a change to overthrow a tyrannical government or something like that. So we don't really know yet. But anyways, when they're running into the building and the one guy trips and falls and like detonates the explosive in his backpack and just fucking blows himself up, like that's how we start that action sequence, and what alerts Chris to seeing that people need his help. That was really fucking funny and well done. And then the whole action sequence of him going in there, from the moment of him climbing up that billboard and jumping through the window, and then him picking them all off one by one, starting out totally unarmed. There's just so many great scenes, great moments in that sequence, and my favorite was him baiting the guy into the room after grabbing a couple of pencils and then like hanging down above the doorway from the ceiling and fucking stabbing the guy in the ears with the pencils and lifting him up off the ground. That was so fire. Him catching the rest of them off guard in the stairwell, and he's got the pistol that he doesn't know how many shots are left in it because the guy fired it a few times when he was killing him, and he like bow 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 gets them all in the head, and then click, the last shot he's out of ammo, and then he just throws the gun at the guy and like jumps down the stairs and beats him to death. That was so fucking fire. The whole thing was so funny. Also, it illustrates like he is still kind of an idiot. Like his whole character is this thoughtful idiot, like he wants to do the right thing, he wants to be a hero. It's like a core personality trait of him, but he's also kind of a moron. He sees these bombs that are like counting down, and he's got like fucking 10 seconds left or whatever, and he just starts pulling cables. Not how I would recommend defusing a bomb, because typically they're rigged to explode if you do that. So it kind of really illustrates his character. Like his heart is always in the right place, but he's more than willing to be like extremely violent to get to done what he needs to do, and he's also a bit of a tool. The type of guy to start unplugging shit from a bomb and hope it doesn't explode in his face, kind of thing. So yeah, that was all really funny and well done. And it calls back to who he is as a character, and the first introduction to him that we got on screen was in the Suicide Squad, and there's that great scene where they're all like staking out the camp where Rick Flag Jr. is being held, and he's like talking about how he's going to go in and kill everybody, and Ratcatcher 2 is like don't they call you the Peacemaker? And he's like, I cherish peace with all my heart, and I don't care how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get it. It's like that's kind of just who he is as a character, and he's grown a lot throughout the first season and so far in the second season of this show. But that is still part of his core personality. Is he is willing to inflict pain and enact violence in order to for the greater good kind of thing. So
Right.
yeah, I just thought this episode was so well done. The whole thing with the alternate version of Rick Flag Jr. being kind of like a klutzy, like cornball sort of dude, very much the antithesis of his character that we had seen so far. And going from being like a guy who's very sure of himself and very equipped to handle himself to this guy that's like tripping over trash cans and stalking through the office to keep eyes on Harcourt and Chris. So
Yeah.
the whole episode was just really good, really funny, a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to see what plays out in the rest of the season. So
Yeah. I mean, mentioned a lot of the good stuff and good detail. Yeah, it was just such a good episode. The scene with the in the stairs was my favorite.
so good, dude.
Yeah, that was my favorite bit.
He just like looks at the empty gun and just fucking chucks it. It just hits the
Chucks it
guy
at him.
square in the fucking nose, catches him off
Yeah,
guard. That was so good, dude. The whole
such
thing
a
was
great
so good.
episode.
Also, when he put the axe in the guy's head and then he was like
Oh
still
yeah,
alive, standing there and being like what's going on? Where are we? Like just like
yeah,
it was so fucking funny. Like again, that's like the way James Gunn is able to write a scene that's a very serious thing is happening, like an axe being plunged into the skull of a man, and he still is able to make it comedic. It's something that's kind of hard to do, and I've always been a big fan of that kind of comedy. One of my favorite movies of all time is Shaun of the Dead, as well as Hot Fuzz and other films like that, where there is like gratuitous violence in a comedic way. Um, I've always
right.
loved stuff like that, so it's great to see on screen with him.
Well, even Deadpool too, right?
Deadpool as well, yeah, same sort of deal. So
Yeah. Anyways, amazing episode.
I have a
Super
question
excited going
for you
forward.
about it. Do you think Superman, David Cornsweet's Superman, will cameo in this season?
Um, yes. For one
Okay.
reason, I think simply just because I think they're gonna put him in the mix a lot. Like, we'll talk about this later. They've already announced his second movie
Yeah.
coming out in 2 years, 22 months, I think, from today, or from like yesterday or some shit. It's gonna be in theater, so less than 2 years. I think with that kind of turnaround, and because he's a pretty new Hollywood actor, right? Like he's from theater, right? Like
I
he
think
hasn't
he's
been
done
in
some
many
stuff, but
big,
yeah, nothing super notable. He was certainly not like a household name. So I
right?
think he
So
will
I
be
think,
by the end of this DCU run. So
yeah, I agree, but I think right now he's fully okay with just being on their like leash in a sense, where he just won't do anything else except the stuff they need him to do.
yeah,
Um, so I think, yeah, I think he'll be in as much as they can get him into, and he'll just say yes.
there was a
So
behind the
yes,
scenes picture that David Cornsweet and John Cena took together from this past week's episode, with David Cornsweet on the set, not in costume or anything, but on the set of this week's
mm,
episode, and you can tell because John Cena is wearing the clothing and has the blood on his face from this episode. So
mm,
whether that doesn't necessarily mean, I mean, he's obviously now in the loop with, in the fold with James Gunn, and he might have just wanted to come and visit set. But they also could have had him there to film a scene, whether that be a brief cameo or he might be in a whole episode, or I don't know. But it does stand to reason that he is in some way linked with this project. The fact that he was on set for this particular episode, this day of shooting. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a pretty good chance that he'll at least make a cameo role in this cameo appearance in this season. So I'm very excited for that.
Nice.
Oh, and also before we move on, what did you think of Judo Master coming back?
Oh yeah, that was sick. I
Yeah.
saw like an
What's
interview
up,
with
fatty?
him. Yeah, yeah, he's awesome. I saw an
Oh,
interview with
so
him,
fire.
and he's a sick guy. The actor, he's a funny guy.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Um,
he's cool.
yeah, no, I'm glad he's back. That was cool. He's jokes. He's such like a rage bait. You know what I mean? Rage bait
Yeah, oh
character.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it just was so funny, like they finally gave him his actual, like, his birth name in the comics is Ripley Jagger. So they're like, oh, Rip Jagger is going to be working with you on that, and Economos is like, who the fuck is Rip Jagger? And then the door opens, like, what's up, fatty? And he's like, fuck. So funny. And also, you feel for Economos in this episode because he's really torn between um, being a good friend or losing his job. um, so it's he's in a really difficult predicament right now. And he even said he was going to quit, and then he was like, went back on that, and then now he's getting more wrapped up in the plot against Peacemaker, which obviously puts him in a bad spot as his friend. Um, Excited to see how that plays out. I think they kind of already foreshadowed what's going to happen in the party episode when they're partying up on the roof.
Mm,
um, Leota says to him, like, why don't you just leave Argus and do your own thing? I think the end of this season is going to set up all of them. Harcourt can't get a job at any of the three-letter agencies because she's been blacklisted by Amanda Waller. Peacemaker is going to obviously make some mistakes in this season that are going to probably make it so that he doesn't have a bright future with the Justice Gang or other groups, but maybe will still have their respect. Um, and he might just be considered like a liability or whatever. And then, Leota is already off doing her own thing with her own company that she started. I think Economos is obviously going to leave and join that company. I think it's an obvious play for Harcourt to do the same. So I think this season's probably going to end with the whole 11th Street Kids group moving on from what they're doing currently to starting this company up and all working together. And yeah, I think that was already kind of implied earlier on, or foreshadowed, I guess.
yeah, I could
So I
totally
think
see
that's
that
where
happening.
Economos is heading as a character. But right now he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And yeah, I don't know what else to say other than brilliant writing. This show is so good. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's just a lot of fun to watch.
All right, moving on. We got Marvel Zombies.
Yeah,
Was it like a month ago? We talked about we were ranking upcoming DC and Marvel projects and Star Wars stuff. That was unconfirmed, and that's different to the list we're going to be doing later. But when we ranked it, we had Marvel Zombies like relatively low, if I remember correctly. After this trailer, it has gone up significantly.
yeah, I'm hyped for it now. I
Yeah,
still stand
if
by
you
what I had
haven't,
said, commenting on, I love Robert Kirkman as a writer. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Invincible. Um, I was at the ground floor of The Walking Dead television show. I watched the first episode the night it aired because it was something I was excited for, having already read the comics, or at least what had been released up until that point. Somewhere in my house, I still have the compendiums. My mom and I were both super into the comics as well as the show. Um, I've watched all the spin-offs, even as it's become less of a pop culture thing over time, where a lot less people are tuned in on what's going on with that franchise. I'm a huge fan of Robert Kirkman, but the Marvel Zombies run with like the whole concept of the hunger and like the zombies being able to like retain the ability to speak and like their, you know, their skills and stuff that they had prior to being infected, not really my thing, and I still kind of stand by that, but this just looks like too much fun to not enjoy after
Right.
watching the trailer. And I did enjoy the What If Zombies episode. I believe that was season 1, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was a lot of fun as like a one-off thing. I didn't expect this to be a continuation of that. I kind of assumed that they were gonna do a more faithful adaptation of the comic run, and that was kind of why I wasn't super excited for it. I am now very excited for this, and again, there is aspects of this, the way that they tell this story that I'm not like super hyped on or whatever, but I just think it's going to be too much fun to not enjoy.
I agree. Yeah, no, I'm super excited for it. If you haven't seen the trailer, go watch it. It's incredible.
Yeah,
There's a few freeze frames there that I might put as a background, dude. Like if I can get that Spider-Man one as
where
a
he's
background,
ripping all the heads off the zombies is so
someone
cool.
needs to someone needs to do that for Wallpaper Engine on Steam, and
Yeah,
I will install that immediately because you can even do it where it's like animated, right?
right.
Where it's like ripping them off and like going back a little bit. Yeah, I need that right now.
Yeah,
It looks super sick.
super fire. Moon Blade or Blade Knight or whatever you want to call him. Blade
Oh
as
yeah,
Moon Knight as Khonshu's new avatar. So fire, dude. That whole fight sequence with him and the ghost of Ava
Ghost. Oh,
Star, or the zombie of Ghost, a little mixed up there, was so cool. And the more times I watch it over again, it's like, oh, when he gets her at the end, it's because she keeps predicting where to phase in and out from based on where he's looking, and then he catches on to that and then baits her into appearing behind him because he looks ahead and then
yeah,
stabs
and then does the
backwards.
backstab.
Yeah,
Oh,
and like that's so
oh,
fire. And then the way he just like she's like, ugh, and then he like slides the blade up,
fucking
slices her in half,
sister.
slices her like every which way, and she's just a bunch of chunks of person on the floor. That was so fire. I'm super excited to see what they do with that. We also got left on a bit of a cliffhanger with the What If Zombies episode, where Hulk went to go fight Scarlet Witch, zombified Scarlet Witch. We never saw how that turned out. So yeah, I mean there is a bunch of stuff that was kind of left unanswered, which I was cool with because it was just like a little snapshot into this world in that episode. But now it's cool that we get to see the payoff of those setups. Thanos showing up with 5 out of 6 of the Infinity Stones. Also very cool. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. It looks like a lot of fun. The animation is great. The fact that they're
Yeah.
doing TVMA,
Yep.
which for those of you who don't know is like basically it's like the TV version of rated R. So it seems like they're not going to hold back. The What If episode was not TVMA. It was for general
PG, I think it
audiences.
was PG
So
13 or
yeah, so the blood was like very like muted, almost like black in color in that episode. This it's like very much there's going to be a lot of blood and gore, and in the What If episode they cut away a lot of the times when it was implied that somebody was about to bite the dust or get bitten by the dust, and they don't seem to be doing that in this, just based on that Blade versus Ghost fight sequence and stuff like that. It seems like they're gonna show
Oh yeah.
all of the deaths of characters and
All the
stuff.
action.
Yeah. Oh, another
So yeah,
great scene that in the trailer when Blade slices, I think it was Wasp in half in like out of the air when she's
Oh
tiny.
yeah,
Like it just shows like, Blade is already such a awesome, like skillful with a blade, like very can hold his own kind of character, not to mention being a daywalker and all that stuff, but with the powers of Khonshu, like he seems like he's
he's
just
moving a little
super
different.
OP. Yeah, like he's doing shit like cutting a fucking ant-sized flying object out of the air with his blade right down the middle. So seems like he's going to be really really fun to watch. We talked off camera about because you were like, oh, it's cool that like Mahershala Ali is like playing
Oh
Blade, and
yeah,
it's like actually he's not. It's a different guy voicing him, and they actually used the guy who in the early first season at least, but I think it was just in the first season that there was a character in Invincible that was voiced by Mahershala Ali, and then I don't know if it was based on scheduling conflict or whatever, but he wasn't able to come back and do the voice for that character again when they reintroduced that character later in the series, and they had another guy voice him that was able to sound near identical to Mahershala Ali, and they actually hired that guy to voice Blade
it
in
sounds
this. So,
incredibly similar.
oh yeah, I mean the guy is trying to do his voice and he's nailing it. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't have known that detail myself even if not having looked into the cast list and stuff. So um,
right.
also speaking of, Elizabeth Olsen is the top person on the cast list in the trailer. So I don't know if we're gonna get like a flashback to how she was turned into a zombie, or if she's gonna be able to speak as a zombie in this season. So that's also interesting. We don't know what direction they're taking that. So
Yeah, very excited. It's also hype.
yeah, no, I'm very very excited for this show. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's no secret to anybody that knows me. I'm a big fan of zombie stuff. Like I said earlier, Shaun of the Dead is one of my favorite movies of all time. Big fan of the Walking Dead comics as well as the shows. Train to Busan is one of my favorite series of movies. World
Did
War
you ever
Z
play the
is
Last
great.
of Us game?
Yep, The Last of Us. I also loved the show. I know a lot of people didn't like season two, but I thought it was great. Um, yeah, no, I'm just a big zombie guy. I love zombie
Yeah,
stuff. I have like a whole folder of films and TV shows that I totally didn't torrent on my PC.
that you
So
didn't Jack Sparrow.
yeah, that I didn't Jack Sparrow, yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum. Um, yeah, I have an extensive collection, let's say, of films and television shows that revolve around zombies. So big fan of zombies, big fan of Marvel. This is a match made in heaven, obviously. Even if there's some narrative stuff that I don't like about it, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna enjoy it. So
Right. Alrighty. Quick little segment before we do our um, tier list of upcoming stuff. I just wanted to speak on Hollow Knight Silksong. This came out like not even a week ago, maybe a week ago. Not even a week ago. Uh, it crashed Steam. Uh, this is made by like a group of like 3 or 4 people, I think. Um, and it's like one of the biggest games. I think it is the biggest Steam game ever, the first one, for like wishlist or some shit like that. Um, it had like 600,000 people on just Steam alone, and this game is also on Switch and PlayStation and Xbox. I just want to shout them out. It's such a sick game, and it's $20 for full price American. So here, I think it's 30. Um, that's so sick to see in 2025 that like they released like a complete game with no bugs. That's also just really well written, really fun to play, and has a bunch of stuff you can explore. And you can get it on release day for $30.
yeah, and I
Um,
think them being such a small team and they know how well the first game sold and performed. I think them knowing that they had created a cult classic game. I think they just know like they don't need to charge more than that, no matter how good or how large the game is for the sequel. They know they're going to make a lot of money doing it, and the less people that are involved, the less that you have to split that revenue. So I feel like they kind of just were in a position where they were like, we could probably charge $50 for this game, but
Dog,
30
but it's
is
like,
more than
yeah, like
enough.
if it's priced at $30 and Steam takes whatever cut on the store, and same with PlayStation and all them. But let's just call it, let's even say they take a third, which I don't think would be true. So they're taking home $20.
Yeah,
The developers here, the game is at like 700,000 plus copies sold, right? So
yeah,
it's like they've made their money back. I just wanted to shout them out. So if you haven't played the first game, I'd highly recommend you can go get it for like $10. Sometimes it's on sale for like $5. Go play it. It's peak. And I just wanted to support good games. So yeah, I just wanted to shout that out. Alrighty, moving on. We got the tier list of anticipation. I didn't actually title this because I'm just made it as a one-off tier list because we're just going to do it on this episode. I won't save this one anywhere just because it's kind of a relevant topic now, but not something that'll make sense going forward for the show to have. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Is there anything you wanted to start with specifically, or did you want to just go in order of how
Yeah,
I
we could just go
pulled
in
it up?
order for what you pulled up. I'm not super.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't really care about.
Also, just as a little um, side bit here, all of these are coming out within the next 2 years. So either the end of this year, 2025, 2026, or 2027.
Yeah,
Um, so it's all in the next 24 months ish, 26 months. This stuff will be coming out. So yeah, it's all hype that we have this amount of stuff. Alrighty, starting off, we have the Grogu and Mando movie, which I believe comes out May next year.
very hyped
Where
for
would you like
that.
where would you like to throw this? I'm gonna throw this in A to start out with.
Yeah, it's borderline S for me. I'm pretty hyped for that. I know a lot of people didn't super love season 3 of The
Season
Mandalorian.
3,
I
yeah.
thought it was fucking spectacular. I don't know.
And I will say this. I agreed with those people on first watch. I rewatched it recently with a buddy of mine who hasn't seen Star Wars, which I know is kind of a crazy thing to say, but I was showing him Star Wars, and one of the things I wanted to show him as like an intro thing to see if he'd like it at all was Mando season 1. I think that's something you can show someone that's never seen anything in Star Wars
Yeah,
and be like, "Do you like this world?" And he fucking loved it. We were like, "We'll just watch this then." And we'll go and watch other things. And yeah, season 3 was a lot better than I remember. I will say it is the weakest season, but it's not like people act like they dropped off a cliff. It was like there was like one bad episode,
yeah,
and mind you, season 2 had a bad episode.
yeah.
Um,
No, I thought it
so
was really well done and fun to
yeah,
watch. Even the one episode with Jack Black in it and whatever that was very much like a filler episode, I thought was fun and like a nice change of pace from like the seriousness of the season, and also had a great setup at the end where it kind of reunited him with all the other Mandalorians. I thought it was good. Like I don't understand why people didn't like that season. Um, but I mean, they did have to kind of backtrack on some stuff that they had been setting up because the trajectory of the story kind of got screwed up by Kathleen Kennedy kind of forcing the hand of
John
John
Favreau and
Favreau, making Grogu and Mando have an appearance in um, Book of Boba Fett, which I also thought was way overhated. I thought that show was a lot of fun. You know, we got Black Chrysanthemum, we got a fucking Rancor, we got Boba Fett riding a Rancor, we got Fennec Shand back. Like that season
yeah,
of that show was really good, and I think when people rewatch it, you know, I've had conversations with a few people, and they're like, actually, it was pretty good. You
yeah,
know,
that was how I felt. Yeah,
I think watching it episode to episode, I think the pacing kind of fucked with people a little bit. One of my favorite movies of all time is Pulp Fiction. Um, in fact, I've probably worn my Pulp Fiction hoodie on this podcast before, so I'm a big fan of it. I literally have the bad motherfucker wallet is my wallet.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's one of my favorite films of all time, and it's all told out of sequence. So I don't really have a problem with um, a lot of backtracking and moving back and forth in time when telling a story. In fact, I think if it's done right, is like a really brilliant way to tell a story. And I think that was most people's main complaint with it. But I thought it was really good. Um, Obviously, uh, Tamar Morrison is his name.
Tamar Morrison, the guy that
Yeah.
plays the clones in the prequels,
Yeah,
and
he's
yeah, yeah,
phenomenal. He's so good in it.
yeah.
I think the other issue that people had is it's like, why did he have a perspective shift or like a shift in motivations from when we last saw him at the end of the original trilogy? I mean, I think that's like a pretty obvious question to answer. Like, he had a near-death experience and realized like, why am I working for these people that don't give a shit if I live or die? Like I might be this incredibly skilled bounty hunter that's like very capable of dealing with himself and being able to get through tough situations and whatever. I may be one of the most skilled fighters and sharpshooters and all of that, pilots,
But he's
everything
just
in
a
the whole
pawn.
galaxy. But it's like I'm a pawn. I'm being put in
Yeah.
situations where there's a chance I might die, and no one gives a shit. And I'm doing this for money. Like, why wouldn't I just like try and do my own thing? And I think, I mean, the only thing that was really like strange about his motivations is that like since when did he like give a shit about the average person, like with him trying to make Tatooine like better. It's like that kind of was like, I guess, a little out of left field because all we've really known about him so far is that he's this cold calculated character that doesn't really care about
Yeah.
anybody else. But I think again, like a near death experience, and then with what we saw him go through with being saved by the Tuscans and that tumultuous relationship that he had with them until he had won their favor, and then watching them all get slaughtered again because they were pawns in this greater story. I think it all makes sense, like why he wanted to do what he ended up doing. I don't see like where there's like a question as to like why he. Anyways,
No,
we're
I
going
agree.
off on a tangent about Book of Boba Fett now, but yeah, I mean, I thought that show and season 3 of Mando were kind of overhated. And I think a lot of people, upon rewatching, kind of realized that they were maybe a little bit too harsh on it. So I'm very excited to see what they do with like a theatrical release film with these characters, and I think it'll be cool to see what they set up for the future of doing, theater release films instead of stuff that's just going straight to Disney Plus. I think what a lot of people forget is that like the Mandalorian saved Star Wars as a franchise.
Back
Um,
in like 2019.
yeah, like people did not give a fuck about Star Wars anymore after Disney ruined it with the sequel trilogy, and rightfully so. And then you get people like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni involved that really, really give a shit about not only just great storytelling, but also care a lot about Star Wars. And, like, I just, it was obvious that these shows were going to end up being really well done. And I'm also excited for Ahsoka season 2. Again, that was another show that, like, a lot of people hated on. In fairness to that one, you really did have to watch Star Wars Rebels to kind of understand what was going on in that show. But I mean, I don't know. I just think like I think people forget like the only reason we're getting Star Wars content at all,
Is
and
because
that
of this
that
character,
franchise wasn't,
Lucky.
yeah, left dead in the water is because of the Mandalorian. And to speak on what you said earlier, where you can kind of just show anybody that show, like I've had multiple ex girlfriends where that was their introduction into Star Wars was like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
watching this show week to week. Like, I'll go back and rewatch the beginning of it with you so you can watch it with me every week. And like, I've gotten multiple people into Star Wars through this franchise. Even David, who hadn't seen a Star Wars movie in forever, since like the prequels, and hadn't watched any of the shows or anything, like any of the animated stuff or anything. Him and I sat down and watched The Mandalorian every time we hung out for a few months, and we got through the whole thing, and he loved it too. Like I think this, even people that weren't super big on the franchise, that just kind of knew like how downhill it had gone since Disney acquired it. I think that people forget how big of a like uh, impact this show had, in kind of reviving that faith in the brand, as well as like getting people into the series or into the
No, you're
um,
right. It
you know
single-handedly stopped them from shutting Star Wars down.
yeah.
Like I genuinely believe that. Like there was at a point where they had released The Last Jedi, and that was obviously like terribly received. And they were already in the production of making and releasing um what's the fucking third one called? Rise of Skywalker. Because I think the time between those was only a year or two. So they like are clearly already filmed a bunch of stuff, and that was the direction they were fucking going at that point. Um, and yeah, it was looking terrible, and no one cared. Disney Plus wasn't doing shit. And then this comes out, and it was the biggest thing on Disney Plus to this date. It's the main reason that they continued doing Disney Plus because it made them so much money. It was like that show
that
alone, the
that and
first
like
season made
WandaVision and Loki and some of the early Marvel stuff that they did also kind of kept
absolutely,
the
but
boat
Mando
afloat.
season one made more than anything else they had combined.
Oh
Like it was
yeah.
an actual like phenomenon. So yeah, no, I agree. This is gonna be sick, but I have it in A just because I think with the list we have here, there's some stuff I have above it, and I think there's a chance that it's a bit weird with it being in a different format, like being movie based, right? Because
Yeah.
we're kind of assume this is gonna be like an Avengers esque
Yeah.
Mando movie. So I'm excited. I might move it up to S by the end of this, but yeah, should
David
probably
will
move on.
rage bait me sometimes calling Grogu Baby Yoda. And the reason why he knows it pisses me off is because like there's so many people that don't know shit about Star Wars that like The Mandalorian, because especially women that are like, "Oh, cute baby
Oh
Yoda." And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like my mom refuses to watch any Star Wars shit, and she's got like baby Yoda fucking like spatulas and like kitchenware in our house. It's like there's it kind of transcended like what the franchise was. It was like a
Yeah.
cultural phenomenon. And I've talked about this before, I think even on here, but the same thing happened with WandaVision, where I was working at the time, people all knew that I was like a Marvel nerd, and people were like coming up to me and being like, I don't watch any of the Marvel stuff, but I've been watching WandaVision. Like, what do you think's gonna happen next? And I'm like, I'm as in the dark as you. Like, this show is really well
Right.
written, And so I think it was that kind of thing where it was like a huge pop culture thing, and everybody and their grandmother watched this show. People that don't know anything about Star Wars, this was their introduction into
Dude,
the
so much.
franchise.
My boy the other day talked about this. Grogu was so big and so popular that they ditched Baby Groot so damn fast, bro.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I was laughing at that fact. It's like I can't be mad about it, but they always want to have like like a cute thing that they can relate to, and that was Baby Groot for a little while there.
yeah.
And Baby Groot was big, but then Grogu came around and was like 10 times bigger. And they'll like stop production on the Baby Groot toy, start pumping this shit
Baby
out.
Groot put a desert eagle to the or Grogu put a desert eagle to the
Yeah,
back of Baby Groot's head and
yeah.
blew his fucking wooden
Said I'm
brains
the
right
cuter
through the
one.
fucking forehead. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm the cuter
yeah,
one. Yeah, so I am excited for this. It is the reason that we still have Star Wars stuff, as you pointed out.
yeah.
So,
Well, and I also
um,
remember like the first, like when I first watched the first episode of The Mandalorian, and like the end scene of that first episode when you're not sure, like he all he knows is that the the person he's going after is 50 years old, and then you see the little hand
Yeah.
of Grogu reach out to him, and you're like, holy
And they're like,
shit. Like, I
holy
remember
shit.
being like, holy fuck, this is so cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
We called each other after, and we were like, because we at that point Disney still had like the share watch party things. We all watched it on our own, and then called each other after.
yeah. And then
And
we
yeah, I remember
started doing the
calling each
watch
other.
parties with Dad as well. The three of us were
Yeah.
watching that series together.
So we called each other after, and we were like, holy shit! Like this is like Yoda. The youngest we saw Yoda was 900 and what 50 or 940 years old,
950 is when he died, I think. So in the prequels, he would have been like 900
eight
ish.
or 900, 890 is the young. Let's just call it 890 years old is the youngest we see him.
Yeah.
So like to know that their prime is probably what half that age, a little less, around 300-400 years old.
Yeah.
It's like we get to see this character grow into that potentially, and like he could be the future of Star Wars. Past all these characters could be long dead, and he's still there. Is such
Yeah.
a cool idea, and the fact that they introduced that so early on, like that this character will outlive all you fuckers, like, and be
Yeah.
more powerful than all of you. And right now he's just this little baby.
Yeah. Very, very
Yeah.
cool.
So moving on, because we should probably do that. That was a little bit of a rant there. We won't take as long for everyone, or we'll be here for 3 hours.
Well,
Um,
we're at exactly an hour or a little over an hour now, so we've still, if we want to do like a 2 hour episode, we got tons of time. This is our last segment, so
yeah. Moving on to same franchise, Star Wars Starfighter. I'm gonna have that in B tier. This is the Ryan Gosling pilot movie. We just don't know too much about it. We haven't seen anything. It is confirmed that comes out the following May. So
well,
May
we haven't seen
2027.
anything, but they did show a trailer at D23 or something.
Yes. No, I think it was
And
CinemaCon.
people CinemaCon or something, but people were raving about that trailer, about
Yeah.
how good it looked. So I mean, I am hyped for it, but yeah, like you said, until I see something, because I haven't watched some bootleg
It's not
fucking
something.
cell phone
Yeah,
filmed
exactly.
like trailer.
It's not something that the concept's gonna carry for me, which
No.
will in other things here coming out, like the concept will carry, but this doesn't enough. But it's not C or D tier. It's definitely B.
Yeah, 100%.
Moving on. I have this is the sequel to Superman, Man of Tomorrow, right? That's what they're calling it.
Yeah, and they're not going to call it Superman Man of Tomorrow. It's just going to be called Man of Tomorrow. James Gunn is a big proprietor of like not uh, naming shit. That's why he did Guardians of the Galaxy as Volume 1, 2, and 3. Because I guess his stance is like either you name it like a totally different name, like you go from Superman to Man of Tomorrow or whatever, or you like don't bother giving it a tagline.
Right.
So either you keep the title and do like it in parts, or you like just do it. The tagline is the film title, which I kind of like.
It's cool if you're in the space. It's stupid if you're trying to connect to people outside the space. That's
Yeah,
much as I say. It's like, oh, you're trying to go talk to your homie or catch up with a buddy of yours that you haven't seen in a while, and you're like, oh, have you seen Doomsday?
yeah, but
Like,
when people don't
or
talk like
have
that,
you
like you
seen
would
Brand
say,
New Day?
yeah, but people don't talk like that. Like if they
But
called
that's how you
Spider-Man
would.
Brand New Day, they could just call it Brand New Day. And like if I was bringing it up to somebody, I'd be like, "Yo, did you see the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day?" Like you're
So
able to
then,
like add that context
so what
through
is this? What was
conversation.
this Superman movie that just came out this past summer? Was it Superman, or was it Superman?
Well, it's the
Because there's
first
other than a
one, so
bunch of,
it's just Superman.
but there's a bunch of Superman movies, right? Because then that gets
But
confusing
then
because that's
then
the
I can say
tagline.
Superman 2025 when talking about it retrospectively, right?
Right, but that's
Like
what I'm
in
saying.
10
That's
years from now I
confusing.
can just say, "Oh, Superman 2025 was a movie I enjoyed."
I don't disagree. I just think it's a little more confusing. I agree that it's cooler and it sounds cooler and it like looks cooler when it's all lined up. I don't disagree
Yeah.
with that, but I think it is just more confusing at the end of the day than just giving it the tagline.
Yeah. I
Um,
get that.
Yeah.
I think they're doing the same
Anyways, this
thing
is a
with Batman:
little
The Brave and the Bold. They're just gonna call it The Brave and the Bold.
Brave and the Bold. Yeah, that is like, but that's fucking hard. That's way
Yeah.
cooler than having the Batman tagline, but confusing for people who don't know ball
Well,
like
people
that.
are stupid. I don't think we need
Yeah.
to cater to morons.
Anyways, back to this. How hyped are you for this?
Pretty hyped.
So they released the main
The
images they released was him in the Lex suit. It was him. So it was Lex Luthor
well,
in the Lex suit, and then
from what I
Superman.
understand, it's gonna be he has to reluctantly team up with Luthor
Yes, that
against
is also
Brainiac,
what I.
which is
Yeah.
super super cool. And Brainiac would be a really awesome uh, character to do. I mean, James Gunn is calling this first phase of the DCU Gods and Monsters. Um, Obviously, Brainiac really well fits into that. And I think that Brainiac is one of the more interesting Superman villains that can actually go toe to toe with him to the point where he would need to call upon someone like Lex Luthor for help. Um,
Which is my one gripe about this theory, because I do think it actually has got some good substance to it. Like, clearly those images, it doesn't look like they're fighting each other. It looks like they're with each other. Um, I think Brainiac is a good Justice League villain, though. I kind of want them to save him. But maybe you do him in this movie and then you keep him for a
well,
Justice League.
yeah, and
I just think
this movie might culminate in him getting kind of like what we talked about with when Fantastic Four came out. It's like you can have the Fantastic Four semi defeat Galactus, where they just kind of knock him down a peg and he's still out there and a threat, and then he can come back and cause a larger problem on a larger scale, and then you have a big team up movie with a bunch of characters that need to fight him to properly defeat him. I think they could do that with Brainiac in this, where it's like he needs to call upon Lex and maybe even other characters as well. Like, for all we know, it will be like the Justice Gang and everybody involved fighting Brainiac, or it might just be a case of like they're able to sort of suspend his imminent threat for a short period of time, and then knowing that he's going to come back swinging harder next time, and then they do a big crossover event with all of the characters going up against him. So I don't know. Kind of depends on how they handle it. I don't disagree with you. I think he would be a great Justice League villain, but there's a lot of characters that they can do that with. And
like
Brainiac
who though? I'm
is
trying
in
to think.
essence a Superman villain, so
Who's a
it kind of
character
has
that's
to be Superman
powerful?
involved.
My DC ball knowledge is a little less than Marvel for sure, but like who's a villain other than Darkseid, which like I hope they keep like 10 years down the line for. Who's a big bad that can go toe to toe with Batman with 30 years of experience, Superman, Wonder Woman, which we know we're getting, and Aquaman, which we know we're getting. Uh and then we're getting the Lantern Corps. Like, dude, we got some heavy fucking hitters. And then once we get the Flash, like you gotta be a strong supervillain to go against the Justice League, and it's like I can't think of many. And
Well,
Brainiac's like
Reverse
at the top of
Flash
that.
would be one that could
But that
definitely
knowing
give them
James
all a run
Gunn,
for their money.
I don't disagree at all. But knowing James Gunn, that's gonna be a Flash story first, because knowing that character is like the biggest D1 hater in comic book history.
Yeah.
That character's story is going to be so much better told with just within a Flash movie or a Barry Allen movie, rather than being like, yeah, he's powerful enough to fight all the Justice League members, but like the story won't make as much sense. So I don't disagree with you there, but I think like what makes sense is what I'm trying to say. Like, who can you think of that makes sense outside of Brainiac and Darkseid? And that's where I'm like, oh, I don't know.
I don't know. But with James Gunn at the head of things, like they could do some interesting shit, like
Doomsday.
Doomsday. They could do some interesting shit. Like they could introduce Martian Manhunter as like a character that they have to fight first, and then he decides to turn the tides and join with them. Or like they could do all types of shit like that, where it's like this is a character that's traditionally been a good guy, and it because they're so powerful, we're gonna pit them up against the heroes and then have them have a change of heart or a change of perspective at the end of the film or whatever. So you never know really what they're gonna do.
True.
Um,
So where would you throw this then
I mean,
with the
I
little tidbits? I
aside
would put
from
it.
some of the
It's
stuff that we
right
talked
there.
about that I didn't like about the Superman movie, I thought it was really well done. I'm obviously a huge fan of James Gunn, and he seems to be pretty passionate about Superman. I would assume that this is going to be another one of his writing and directing
Projects.
things, yeah, that he does. So, um, I mean, I'm pretty excited for it. I would say it's definitely an A.
I think it's just above
I was gonna say just below, so we can keep them
because you haven't
side by
seen
each
this
there.
because we haven't seen this in so long, and we just got this. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll leave it there. I like that. Clayface, we got some more set leaks. That's S. I'm not even a
yeah,
horror guy, but the I like the mix that they're throwing in with the DCU being like, oh yeah, you get a happy, bright Superman, and then I think this comes out next summer. You're gonna get a dark body horror, creepy Clayface.
dude, I'm
I
so
think that's
excited you already put it in S because I was gonna be if you didn't put it in S and you put it in like A, I was gonna be like, bro, we're watching The Fly together, and then you're gonna put it in S.
I
you
did
know,
watch it by the way with
you
Owen.
watched The Fly?
It was like it was really good, but yeah, I gotta get used to those kind of movies. Is all I'll say about that.
So give me quick sidebar. Like, what did you think of that movie?
It was really good. It was just like as I said, and I think when we ranked this before, when I did have it lower, the fact that it's going to be within like a nerdy environment, I think will give it that extra bump. Because for me, I think I'll give like The Fly was like a 8.5 out of 10 for me. But I think that extra point and a half could be achieved by being a Clayface project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
For me personally, just because it's like that kind of stuff was like it is a lot for me to take in, and it was like it was a lot to digest. But it was like as we've talked about before, it was like a very good written movie and well done.
Okay, the
Um,
next one that you and was it you and Owen who watched that?
yeah, he was in and out. He was busy doing some applications for work, but yeah, it was mainly me.
The
But he was
the next thing the two of you got to watch is John Carpenter's The Thing.
okay.
And that's also a body horror movie. And that will also get you hyped for this movie, I think, cuz if you've seen a couple films that are in this like scape,
It'll
um,
warm me up to it, kind of
it'll
thing.
warm you up to it. And John
Cool.
Carpenter's The Thing is like a phenomenal movie. The effects and stuff are a little outdated. Obviously, it's an older film.
Right.
And like a lot of that body horror stuff, like you saw with The Fly, like they did a lot of practical effects and stuff, and
Yeah,
it is a little outdated, but like in a
you
good
get the
way. Like
gist. Yeah,
it's almost like genius, the level of like the fact that you can watch a film from that era that is mostly practical effects and not be kind
and
of
still get
taken
the
out
same
of it.
reaction
Right, and not
that
be
you
kind
would
of
from a
taken out of it.
modern.
It's
Yeah.
like, dude, they don't even do shit like this anymore. Like I almost hope that the Clayface thing is like a lot of practical effects, because
Oh, it's
like
supposed to be.
right, and I'm excited to see if they do that well because what we can do now with doing practical effects and then CG over top of it. I mean,
Is
we
insane.
saw Alien Romulus
Romulus,
and that movie was
insane.
flawless for that. Like the effects in that film were
Yeah,
flawless.
visually it was mint condition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's visually 10 out of 10, story-wise easily a 9. Like that movie is so good. And I think I would love to see that done with the Clayface movie. Like do like as much practical effects as you can and then just CGI over it, and like it gets you to a point you can get like almost full realism. If you do like full CGI, there is that like uncanny valley thing where you're like, I know this
Right.
isn't real, but with practical and then CG touching it up, like you can really get to the point. Like there were scenes in
Right, because it's the
at the end of
physical.
Romulus where you're like, holy shit, dude! Like that
Right.
fucking
It's the physical thing that you're looking at with the detail enhanced from the CG, and it's just yeah.
the end of Alien Romulus. Spoilers if you haven't seen it, with the fucking human alien hybrid was like
Yeah.
beyond
Insane.
unnerving. Like there was
Yeah.
multiple sequences in that, like the last few whatever half hour 40 minutes that thing was on screen was like, it was so unnerving, dude. Like, it was like, holy fuck. Like, I actually left the theater like freaked out a little bit, you know what I mean? And I'm a big
Right.
horror guy. Like, not a lot of stuff does that to me, but I was like, it was like, wow, like I'm like uncomfortable. And that's what you're going for with these kinds of films, right? So
Right.
but with the face huggers, like they had actual animatronic face huggers that like could like run around on the floor and shit, and then they CGI'd over top of that, and that's why they looked so good and why it was like so freaky when they're like crawling around on the floor. It's like they actually had that on set, and there were people that like were reported, including actors, to have been like legitimately terrified just by the fucking animatronic thing, let alone what it turned out looking like after it was
Right.
touched up and shit. So like there were people that were like you know, some of those scenes, like the uncomfortability and fear in the eyes of the actors was like legitimate, and it was
Yeah.
because they shot it like
Which also
that.
makes the performances better too,
Right,
right? So,
right. And so like
yeah.
I really really hope that they do that with the Clayface film, and they have a unique opportunity here to do something so special. Especially because I mean, we've seen with this season of Peacemaker, I mean, there was a whole orgy scene in an episode. There's a lot of gratuitous violence. Like, James Gunn is not scared to make a very adult project in the DCU, and I think that's something
Yeah.
that was sorely missing from the last era of DC. And
Just the
I think the
variety,
reason
right?
being is because DC is kind of the more edgy,
It has the
you
more
know, dark.
variety.
Yeah, it has a lot more of the dark and like edgy
Yeah.
stuff than Marvel has, and Marvel has its fair share of that kind of stuff too with Blade and stuff like that. But even then, it comes across more like corny comic booky. There's a lot of stuff in DC that's like legitimately dark, you know, and yeah, I mean, they have a unique opportunity here to make a very unique and special film, and really set the tone with what is possible in this franchise. And I'm just really, and Clayface is a cool character, but is nobody's like, or I shouldn't say nobody, but most people, it's not like their go-to number one villain, even for just Batman, let alone the DCU.
Right.
But like, I mean, this movie might change that for a lot of people. I suspect that a lot of
Well, and it's
people
bringing
might.
in, like, if you're a fan of that kind of stuff and you don't care about superheroes, maybe you'll go see this and then care about the rest of the stuff. And I think that's what I mean by the variety. Even if I don't care, if I didn't care about it, and I have it in S now and I do care about it, but even if when I didn't care about it as much, it's like wasn't catered towards me then. Now that I'm watching this stuff that you're recommending, but it's that's why I love James Gunn and what he's doing with this. It's like bringing as many people from many different corners of film as you can.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. And quick question about the Clayface film: do you think they'll debut the DCU Batman in that film, even as a cameo at the end?
Um, yes, because it sounds like um, Gunn's pretty close on deciding who he wants.
Yeah,
Um, we don't really know who that is yet, and we'll probably hear within the next 12 months. But yeah, I do think we will.
yeah.
It'll be
I
like a
think
silhouette or something, right? And he'll have the suit idea. He probably already knows exactly the suit he wants, so they'll cook up a suit and they'll just put some guy in there, and it might be the guy he chooses, it might not be, but we'll probably just see the silhouette and the suit. You know what I mean?
yeah. I don't suspect we'll get like a face reveal. Like, Bruce
No,
Wayne is not going to show up in this movie. Batman is going to show up in this movie, is what
right.
I would assume. I would assume we're going to get the costume, and maybe even not show the top of his head. You know, like it might even be like we're not even revealing the face of who's playing this
Right.
character.
You
But
know what I wanted them to show is just the eyes, like because there's a theory that James Gunn is listening to the people, and the people want white eyes finally. Like if we're gonna do a full comic-y kind
yeah,
of universe, I want white eyes, and we've never had that in Batman. The closest we've gotten was the Christopher Nolan Christian Bale tech eyes,
yeah,
but those were like blue. Um, and they
Yeah,
weren't
very light
really.
blue, but yeah, still not
They were
quite
blue,
white.
and they were like the closest we've gotten to. But in live action, we've never gotten the white eyes, and I think it would be cool to like just show him like hanging down, maybe upside down, and just show the white eyes in the dark or something like that. I think
Yeah,
that would
when
be
it comes
cool.
to Batman's eyes, if it ain't white, it ain't right, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just fucking around. That's a
Well,
terrible
I mean,
thing to
what
say.
what are they going to be though? Red?
No, that's a racist term. I was just making a
No, I
joke.
know, but
Okay.
you made it not racist. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
I agree. Where, as I said, the closest we've gotten was that glow, because they were essentially glowing in the Christopher Nolan movies, because there
Yeah.
was like he was scanning shit.
It was just in The
Um,
Dark Knight that we saw that, I believe.
yeah, so I think it'd be cool to just get the white eyes, and maybe we get those in like as a reveal in that. But I think that would be cool.
Yeah. No, I'm super
Um,
hyped for that one. I
yeah,
think it's going to be really, really good. I think it's going to be a huge change of pace from what we've gotten in DC adaptations throughout all of film history thus far. And I'm excited for them to break the mold with that. And then hopefully, after other writers and directors see that film and kind of get an understanding of what can be in this new DC universe, it brings other people into the fold where they're now
right.
excited to do their passion project and do something totally different than we've seen so far. So I think I'm hyped for it for that alone, for it to just inspire other creators to want to do
Right. This
something
is one where
unique.
concept carries. This is what we
Yeah.
were talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, we
Um,
saw that with Christopher Nolan did such a different take on a superhero film with the Dark Knight trilogy, and you know that spawned the Joss Whedon getting involved with Man of Steel and doing a very different tone for that. I think that sucked. As
Zack
a
Snyder, you mean?
or Zack Snyder, pardon me. I think that was a a good movie, but it was a dog shit Superman movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, hopefully this inspires people in the right way to like not fundamentally change characters, but maybe do give the spotlight to characters that are lesser known or less beloved, and do something really special with them. So yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Agreed. Alrighty, yeah, we should move on. We have Woman of Tomorrow. For me, this is gonna be right below the Superman sequel, and it's just because I don't know as much about the character as I do Superman. And I don't, they don't, we haven't seen much. Where I've seen David Cornsweet in the suit with his characters. I've seen his movie; it was good. We don't really know. I don't know who's gonna be a villain. I don't know really much about it. I know it's based off of a
Yeah, we
certain
do.
comic
Lobo
line.
is the villain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Lobo is the villain. He's played by Jason Momoa.
I didn't know Jason Momoa was gonna play Lobo, but I didn't know he's already gonna be in this.
Yeah,
Um,
there's been set leaks and stuff showing him fighting Supergirl on set.
okay, cool.
So yeah.
But would you disagree? For me, it's just for me, I would
Personally,
just
I
be
would
below.
actually put it a little bit above Superman because, kind of for the opposite reason to you, like I've already seen David Cornsweet as Superman. I am excited to see him continue his character on in this franchise, but the way that they hyped up and set up Supergirl's movie, I was all here for, and knowing a little bit more about kind of her backstory in the comics and what they might be doing with this. The series of comics that it's based on is very dark and like tonally different from the Superman film. So I'm excited for again just for them to do something a little different. Um, so yeah, I would
No, it's
say
totally fair.
yeah, I'm a
Yeah, and
little
she
tiny
was
bit. It edges
really
it out for me a little bit.
in the end of Superman. She was really funny. She when she makes that little cameo at the end, she was really good. Um, so I am excited to see her. I don't mind that at all because it is something new. Um, moving on because I don't think we have too much else to talk about that one.
No, I mean
Because it's going to be taking
until we get a
place off
trailer or
world as
whatever.
well.
Yeah.
As far as we know, it'll be taking place off world, so it
Yeah.
won't be like.
Well, Lobo is like
Not
a fucking space biker,
yeah,
basically. So
not that that's a problem by any means, but it doesn't directly affect like Earth, right? So there's less to like theorize. Um, for this one, I have this icon for the Batman. Matt Reeves' Batman is coming out next year, late next year. Where would you put this? Because I'm thinking for me, this is an easy S tier, but I know you're much lower on the first one.
I didn't hate the first one. I just the only thing that I didn't like about it was the kind of whiny, angsty. I'm gonna wear black eye paint and listen to Nirvana bullshit that they did with the character. It just kind of seemed like kind of bitch made to me, which is kind of not how you want your Batman. But I mean, also the Penguin was probably the best TV show I've seen in a decade. So
Right, which is why for me, if you asked me when the movie came out, it would probably be like A tier, maybe even at the bottom of A tier, to be honest. But after the Penguin, it's just like, dude, that world is so good. It's like the
yeah.
Batman itself might not be my favorite Batman,
Well,
but not
they
only
can change that
they
in
can
this
change
film
him because
too.
it's his first year or second year. So
Yeah.
they can change that as one thing, and second of all, this is the best Gotham and best like Batman world we've ever gotten, not even close.
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, for me it's gonna be S tier. Where is it in S tier? For me, it would be first place right now. I wouldn't be mad if you want to put it behind the
Yeah,
Clayface
I'm
thing.
way more excited about Clayface. Um, just because of all the things we talked about. I am excited for Matt Reeves to continue on this universe. You know,
We can leave it
Penguin
there if
was a
you feel more
legitimate
strong
like
about
10
it.
out of 10 show. Like that was
Oh
an
yeah,
actual 10
100%.
out of 10 show, which I don't lightly give a 10 out of 10 to anything. But that show was like phenomenal in every possible way. And yeah, I think I'm excited to see that universe continued on, even though it does kind of pose some issues with. A lot of people are asking the question: should we just fold these two universes into one another and have Battinson become the Batman of the DCU?
No.
I don't. I really would be disappointed if they
Here's my
did that.
take on that.
I would
Here's
rather
my
be
take
the
on
average
why.
person be confused than have like a lesser
Yeah.
like result. Like I think
Do
doing
you have a main reason for that? Because I have like a super main reason for that.
yeah, biggest reason is Matt Reeves has set up this very grounded, realistic universe where people don't have superpowers, and it's very like, this could happen in real life kind of thing, and like right from the first two projects being the Creature Commandos and Superman in the DCU, we have set the tone that that is not able to mesh with this universe.
So mine's
Gotham
similar, but
can't be
it's
this isolated place where like only here exists people that are heroes and villains that don't have powers. It's like there's going to be tons of I don't know. It just does
that's
not
that
work.
no, that's a fair point. For me, it was the power scaling.
Yeah,
Like for me, it was like, oh, if they introduce him into the DCU with Superman, they're gonna have to just make him way more powerful than we've seen him already, which would just be weird.
yeah,
Like it does, yeah. Like I like his when he's in the suit. I like him a lot, and like he does beat the bricks out of like those gang guys. But it's like at the end of the day, this Batman is not like a version of Batman that can keep up with people who are enhanced, which kind of goes off of what you're saying.
they
Like
also would have to do
there are
some
versions of
sorry, go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say there are versions of Batman which can keep up with people that are enhanced, like the version that we're hearing we might get instead of merging, which is an older Batman with the Bat family who's experienced, who's seen some shit. And it's like that makes more sense for this universe because he's actually going to be able to do something as just a regular dude with a fuck ton of money,
Yeah,
rather than Pattinson's, who's like clearly like first of all he's not that smart of a Batman, and he's also not that strong of a Batman.
yeah.
So it just wouldn't make sense.
Well, and I was also gonna say they would have to do some timey wimey wibbly wobbly bullshit I don't know if they established like an actual timeline in the Matt Reeves universe, but like they would have to say that happened like 20 years ago or whatever if they were going to bridge him into this universe and still do the Brave and the Bold, because it's like, so in the couple years since we've seen him, he has a 10-year-old, or like however
Yeah.
old Damian Wayne's going to be. So like I just don't think it's like possible based on the like stories that they want to tell in the DCU.
Well, it's
And
just the
like I said
opposite. He
before,
started
like
with a young Batman, and James Gunn and his universe makes sense for an older Batman. So yeah,
yeah,
it just doesn't make sense to
yeah,
merge.
and like I said before, I'd rather the average moviegoer be confused than get like a lesser product on either end.
Yeah,
I think Matt Reeves' second Batman
just read the
film will
fine
be
print.
better, and Brave and the Bold will be better if they are kept separate,
Yeah.
than if they were to merge
Do
them
you
into one.
think?
We'll get something that's just not as good as either of the two separate could have been.
Do you think that means going into that question before we move on here? Do you think that means we don't get James Gunn's Batman for like half a decade, or do you think he's just gonna shoot the shit and be like, "Fuck it"?
I
If
think
people
he's
are
just gonna say
confused,
fuck it.
so you think we might get a Batman in within the two
Ja-
different Batman universes with it, but or two different Batman movies, like different universes within
he
like the same like 12
he
months or
has
something?
said as ideally he won't release a Batman standalone project within the same year as Matt Reeves does his, but I mean, James Gunn is, pun intended, a gunslinger. Like he's just gonna come out and do whatever the fuck he sees fit to do. And he's
Mm.
such a good creator that his sense of direction has been pretty flawless so far. I would trust anything that he does creatively, for making this franchise as good as it can be. And I don't think that he's going to shy away from just having a slightly confusing.
So you think
Um,
like 2027, 2028, we probably get a Batman movie
yeah, I
rather
don't
than
think
like
he's
I'm
going to
talking
wait.
like 2030.
Yeah. And I don't know what Matt Reeves' plans are with this character. Maybe he just wants to do a trilogy and wrap it up, which would put James Gunn in a good position where he can just kind of offset the release of his Brave and the Bold film, and then not worry too hard about the future of that character when he knows there's only one more film coming that will conflict with when he can release his uh, future Batman films. But yeah, I think I don't think he's going to shy away from just getting it out there and getting it done. And
I agree, and I hope he doesn't. I hope he
no,
doesn't.
I hope he
Kind of
doesn't
similar to
either.
what you're saying about the average viewer. Like in a sense, I know we were just talking about inclusion and everything, but in a sense, like fuck 'em. If you're too stupid to like not understand the difference in that sense and not like read the fine print, like
I
there
and
will be an
I
obvious difference in like trailer and in tone and in everything between these two Batman.
and
That
I
would be
think that
like,
James Gunn
and
knows
yeah,
as well that like there's not a better character in any franchise to do this with than Batman. Batman has been done so many times by so many different directors and so many writers. He's had so many different actors have portrayed this role. Same as Superman. These are two characters that it's like people are used to there being reboots and rebrands of this character throughout their lifetimes. Even like I grew up watching the Christopher Nolan trilogy, as those came out, and I'm very much here for two different versions of Batman being going on at once. I'm not going to be at all confused by it. I understand I'm like in this space, but I think
right.
Batman is in a unique position as a character to where people kind of expect there to be reboots and rebrands, different actors playing him, different writers behind the films, different directors directing. I just don't think
Different
it's going to be an
versions of the
issue.
character too, right?
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
different characters, or versions of the character. So yeah, I
I
don't
know, I
know.
agree. Cool. All right, we'll leave it at the second spot. Brand new day. I think this might gotta take the
Yeah,
Clayface. I'm
S
sorry.
tier, top of S tier.
Um,
We're both
we've
big
so
Spider-Man
much. We don't
fans.
even need to say too much about this because
We've
it should
talked
be
about it
obvious.
so
We've been
much. Yeah,
covering it week to week. the
Yeah.
leaks as much as we can. For us, Spider-Man is for Ryan is his it's your favorite hero of all time, right?
Yep.
And for me, it's he's top three. So yeah, it's um,
Who is your
yeah, it's
top
just
three?
my top three heroes of all time. You're not gonna like this.
Lay it on me.
So my number one is Iron Man, and
Okay.
that's simply because for me, I'm born in 2005. So the first Iron Man movie came out when I was 3. So my first introduction to like superhero stuff was like I am pretty young when it comes to this stuff. Superhero stuff's been around a long time. Was RDJ's Iron Man.
Yeah.
And that shit was just the coolest thing ever to me. I understand he was way different in the comics and kind of like not really known in the comics compared to a lot of other
He
characters.
wasn't
And like
unknown. He just wasn't like
apparently
the
he's like,
rock star,
yeah,
Like he wasn't the
yeah.
most
Apparently he
important
was much
guy.
more lame, and they
I wouldn't
cooked
even
with
say
art.
that. I just think he just wasn't like a pivotal character in a lot of runs of the comics. Like there was certainly times when he was an important staple character, but he was prior to Robert Downey Jr. He was not very many people's like top guy. You know what I mean?
Right. So for me, it's up. He's up there simply just because of like the MCU got me into superhero stuff. Like I'll admit that. Like that's how I first got into it. And then he was the front runner of that, and he was perfect for his role and just so cool. Um, and like looked cool. His like powers to me were like he's smart and like he isn't just a human. Like he does have some altercation, but he isn't like enhanced in any other way. Like he doesn't have like laser eyes or whatever. He's just a really smart guy who was like um, selling his, I guess, his smarts for destruction and terrorism, and then was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna make a suit, and then I'm gonna go stop these people in myself and stop producing weapons and like whatever." So I thought his story was cool, and obviously like his run that he had, he was basically the main character in the MCU. So
Yeah.
that's why for me he's one. Spider-Man is two, just because of in that same vein. The other thing I grew up on was Spider-Man cartoon shows, and then growing
Yeah.
up I played the Spider-Man PlayStation games are phenomenal. Then going back and watching the ones that came out when I was like, I think actually all three Raimi movies came out before I was born, right? Or just two of them?
I think the third one came out in like 2005.
So that's my birth, yeah. So those were before my time. So I'm going back to watch those and being like, damn, these are sick for like completely different take and like how they were shot. And he was always just cool in any form. Um, yeah, he's always been up there. And then third for me is also just a super obvious pick is Batman. Um, yeah, Batman is top notch because same kind of thing where it's like there's so many different versions you can do, but he's always got those cores, and
Yeah.
as long as he has those cores, the stuff that you can do with him is so cool. Um, and the Arkham video game series is one of my favorite like superheroes like stories ever told. Um, so yeah, Batman's up there for sure. R.I.P. Kevin Conroy, by the way. He did the voice. He did a
Yeah.
lot of
Rest in
Batman
peace.
voices.
Very cool guy too in real life.
Yeah.
And also, like,
So
you can tell how much of a big impact he had with his character. You know,
yeah,
for a long time, Mark Hamill was kind of synonymous with the voice of the Joker across all media, and he will not reprise that role in anything ever again now that Kevin Conroy is gone. He's like, I can't play
right.
the Joker if not to have Kevin Conroy doing the Batman alongside me. So, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he had a big impact on the people that he worked with, and he was also I believe, the first openly gay man to voice or play as a superhero as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he had a big cultural impact as well, and was just a really, really cool
Legend.
person. And yeah, like he's, yeah, rest in peace, man. He
And he
was
does
great.
just have the best voice. Like whenever I think of
Yeah,
Batman, it is his voice. Like it is just perfect. It works for
yeah,
both in the suit as Batman and as Bruce Wayne just perfectly.
yeah. And it's a shame because
Um,
same with Mark Hamill as the Joker, but I totally
yeah,
respect and understand his
his
decision to
choice.
lay
Yeah.
that to rest as out of an homage to his longtime
Fallen
friend.
brother,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's Iron Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Batman 3, and then to close up my top five, Deadpool is 4. And that's strictly because of you going to watch that movie when Dad didn't know it was rated R when it came out
Yeah,
back in
okay, can we tell
2015.
that story really quick before you give your number
Yeah.
5 and
So
then we'll tell that story.
and then my number five is Green Lantern.
Okay.
Um, just
And
the
I'll
whole
do I'll
thing.
do my top 5 in a second, but yeah, so
Yeah.
for any of
Yeah.
you who were around and like old enough to have seen like the marketing and stuff for the first Deadpool movie, because Declan and my dad live in and our dad live in a different city than me. Sometimes like if I was around like on a day to day kind of thing, I would have warned my dad against it. But they did market that film as like they did multiple marketing campaigns for Deadpool where like one of them was like, oh, it's like a fun superhero movie you can take your
Like
family
PG
to.
13.
Yeah, and then they also marketed it as a love story. They had like a big billboard on like in Los Angeles that was like because it came out around Valentine's Day, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. It was like
And
winter time.
so they did like a little marketing ploy where they kind of got people that maybe shouldn't have gone to see that movie to go and see it, and my dad fell victim to that and took Declan to go see Deadpool.
Yeah. So
And that's why
I
in the
was
beginning of that movie, there's the scene where he fucks up all those guys on the
yeah.
highway overpass, and he's like,
Oh,
"Now I know what you're thinking. My boyfriend said this was a superhero movie, but that guy just turned that other guy into a fucking kebab. Well, I may
Bob.
be
Yeah.
super, but I'm no hero." It's like they did that on purpose. And
Yeah.
funny enough,
It
my
was
dad
so funny,
actually
but it was.
fell for the
Yeah.
marketing bullshit and took my little brother, who was way too young to see that movie at the
Yeah. So
time.
at the time, he wasn't my favorite hero, but he was up there because you were of age, obviously,
Yeah.
and then. Growing up and just going back and watching those movies, the first Deadpool movie for me is a top five comic book movie of all time.
Oh yeah.
Um, I like it more than Deadpool Wolverine. I think the first one is just perfect
Yeah, I
for the
agree.
character. Not saying Deadpool Wolverine is bad, but the first one is literally
I think
perfect.
Deadpool and Wolverine was more impactful for like the franchise and like and how it
And probably
so
more
beautifully paid
impressive.
homage to everything that came before, even Iron Man did and all that stuff. I think, and obviously visually was the most impressive, had the biggest budget,
Yeah,
and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean the first movie
the fact
was
that the first one
easily the
was like
best
a
one.
full-on passion project and was like hidden
First
in the
movie they did
locker
for
for.
like $50 million.
Yeah, bro.
Like
Yeah,
think about
yeah,
that. Think about how good
yeah.
that movie is for $50 million. Like some
Insane.
like indie movies get a bigger budget than that. That was
And
nothing.
don't look anywhere as good. Yeah,
Yeah.
so incredible. So yeah, Deadpool for me rose the ranks and easily is for me now top five. So he's at my four, and then yeah, Green Lantern's always just been so cool to me. Like all of the Lantern lore has been sick. So that's at
I
my
like the Lantern characters. My top 5, Spider-Man number 1. Always been a big Spider-Man guy. Our dad is that's his top pick for heroes as well, so I grew up not
yeah,
only
oh yeah, it's
watching
not
the
even
Sam
not even
Raimi
close for him.
franchise as it came out, but also and like as a kid, which like was very impactful on me. And then I remember going to see each of those movies in theaters. And yeah, I mean, um, just so many reasons why Spider-Man is my favorite character. He was one of Stan Lee's favorite characters, and as somebody who looks up to Stan Lee quite a bit, um, I, obviously there's another factor there. Deadpool is number 2. I just love what he's able to do as a character. There's whole series of comics. Deadpool kills the Marvel universe and shit. Like he's just such an interesting character. The way he can break the fourth wall and the setups that allows them to do, and the humor and everything is just very much up my alley. I pointed out earlier in this episode, I'm a big fan of Shaun of the Dead and all the Cornetto trilogy and movies like that. I'm a big fan of like Edgar Wright as a writer director. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is definitely in my top 20 movies, and there's just so many things that I draw from that I love and have loved throughout my life, that Deadpool kind of fits right in with, as a character. And yeah, so I love
Now, I don't know
Deadpool.
the rest of this list. I don't know. The first two I knew.
Yeah. Um, Blade is definitely on the list. Probably, maybe I'll give him my number 3 slot. Blade is just such a cool character. The people forget the impact of the original Blade movie as well, with
True.
Wesley Snipes. Comic book movies weren't really taken seriously at all at the time, and that was one of the catalysts to what we have today with, these massive franchises with huge budgets, and all that stuff is kind of all owed to, some of the early movies, and Blade was definitely one of those ones that set the tone as being able to do something totally different, that kind of breaks the mold. And the first movie is still holds up to this day. It's like, obviously it's corny and comic booky and whatever, but it's so good. Blade as a character in the comics, I mean, what a cool concept that he's, born as a daywalker vampire that is a vampire hunter, and then he has all of the powers of a vampire without any of the negative aspects, like not being able to walk in daylight. Garlic doesn't hurt him, silver doesn't hurt him, crosses, all that stuff. And on top of that, he gets bitten by Morbius, who's a living vampire, a scientifically created vampire, and it just enhances his powers even more. What a cool concept for a character. He's just awesome. Everything about him is cool. And he's had so many cool runs in the comics. Yeah. Number 4. I gotta throw someone DC in there. Um, hmm. I honestly, I just want to give it to Batman because, again, I did grow up with the Christopher Nolan trilogy as well, and Batman is just, again, such an interesting character off the pages, and there's so much good content around him. The Arkham games, so many good animated series. Batman Beyond was fucking awesome. So many good things that I grew up with as a kid. Um, yeah, so I'll definitely give my 4th slot to Batman. And then number 5, probably Venom.
Okay.
Venom, I'll give it to him because he's kind of an anti-hero like Deadpool. Like, if Deadpool can make the list, then Venom can make the list as well. Obviously, he started off as like a very much a villain, but in a
Right.
lot of later runs of the comics, he's been definitely more of an anti-hero, like with the Lethal Protector run and Agent Venom and all these other versions of the character that we've gotten over the years.
That's fair. The symbiote
So
stuff's always been really cool. That's like the
yeah,
symbiote stuff's kind of like the Green Lantern stuff for me for Marvel. It's just like it's like this space lore that's just like
yeah,
kind of random but so cool.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
that would probably be my
that's
top 5.
nice. Okay, a
Anyways,
little side note, but that was fun.
yeah, we're talking Marvel. The
Anyway,
next few things we're doing on here are Marvel too. So
so that's why Spider-Man's up there. Um, goated character, and that movie I think is going to be so pivotal for the franchise. So yeah, talking about pivotal for the franchise. What about where are you for Doomsday? Because for me, I think I'm going to be higher on Secret Wars, and I think you're the same.
yeah, I'm pretty hyped for it. Um, I'm There's obviously some stuff I'm like anticipating them screwing up, as we've talked about before. I think Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Doom was obviously the right choice from a like money making like business standpoint, but I think it was the worst fucking possible choice for a storytelling perspective. Um, I just really am not anticipating them doing that in a, I don't know. Just do fucking Victor Von Doom. Like, how hard is that? Cast a new actor. Like, I don't get
No, that's
why.
fair. But with that being said, like, where do you land on that then?
Yeah,
Because
so
for me, I'm
obviously,
thinking
as we've
like
talked about
I
before, like, I'm very excited for it. It's just, I know there's going to be some things walking out of that theater that make it so that I cannot put it in S tier for anticipation. Like, I know there's going to be shit that's
yeah
like, that I'm just sad and angry that they did, that I would have done differently. Victor Von Doom, if we're making a villain tier list, holy fuck, it's like, what an easy choice. Victor Von Doom is easily top number one for me. Um, Such a cool character. Um, like the duality of him being this incredibly gifted genius scientist that's able to, basically do what Iron Man does and create technology to serve his needs, but then also becomes a sorcerer because his mother is trapped in hell with Mephisto and he needs to like rescue her and all this. Such a cool fucking concept for a character, um, to have that duality of mysticism versus science melded into one
the
character.
master of both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
pretty sick.
yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite characters of all time. So yeah, I mean, I'm obviously still excited for it. I just am disappointed that they didn't give him the setup that he deserves and kind of drip feed him to us like they did with Thanos. They certainly had an opportunity to do that, especially with him being a character that wears a mask. Like, I mean, fuck, they could have just not
Yeah,
picked an actor for the last 5 years and just fucking drip fed us Doom showing up in the background of shit this whole time. I'm just
yep.
really sad at how they handled his introduction as a character. For anybody that's in the know, like, this movie was not supposed to be called Doomsday. It was supposed to be called Kang Dynasty, and then,
Yep.
Jonathan Majors went on a wife-beating world tour and fucked that whole thing up for himself and Disney. And I think, I don't know. Also, I'm not trying to. I'm making a joke out of it. I'm not trying to downplay the domestic abuse. Obviously, that was pretty fucked up. But anyways, I'm just like, it's just sad that it's like they just kind of shoehorned him into this role that was not meant to be his, and meant that they
Yeah.
were gonna now rush this character that is a beloved villain, that definitely deserves his due. I mean, the story that they're adapting, he literally punches through Thanos' chest and rips his skeleton out of his body, in that series of comics. I mean, you couldn't get a more scary villain, and to
Yeah.
do Thanos more justice than he deserved. Not that I don't like that character or whatever, but like,
Right.
they made him so much more interesting
In depth. Yeah.
in depth in the movies than they ever did in the comics. I mean, in the comics, he was kind of just a whiny fucking asshole. And they
Yeah. His
changed his
motivation was
whole
way more lame.
motivation. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
And
like
then
to
to
see
not do
them
that
do
for
that,
Doom.
yeah, to see them do that, and then Thanos is the character that they use in the comics to show how much of a bad motherfucker Doom is. That he just easily one shots him for talking smack. I mean, it's more than mildly disappointing that we're not getting a proper setup for him and everything. So yeah, I mean, as far as like the hype goes, I like, obviously I'm very excited to see an Avengers movie in general. I'm excited to
Yeah.
see them bring back some of the characters that have been left kind of hanging in the balance in the last few years. Characters that have sort of like loose thread uh, plot lines, where we don't really know what they were trying to set up with them, or we do know what they were trying to set up and it seems like they're never going to pay it off. I'm excited to see all those characters return. I'm excited to see a spectacle film where they, you know, give everybody a brief moment in the spotlight. I'm excited
Yeah.
to see Battle World. I'm excited for all of that stuff. It just, the only thing that makes it, both of the movies not going in S tier is that I think there's no possible way that they can do justice to Doctor Doom as a character at this point with the way that they've chosen to set him up, or not set him up more accurately. So yeah,
I
I mean,
agree, but
top of A.
I do have Secret Wars above it, so we'll do it like that
Mm-hmm. And I would
for me
also
personally.
agree because, again, for the
Just
same
because
reason,
this,
the only big
yeah,
detraction is that they're not going to be able to set up Doom properly for Doomsday. But I mean, if they do enough legwork in Doomsday to flesh out Doom as a character enough for me to be satisfied, then Secret Wars is going to be fine in my books for that. So we can only
and I
see,
think
but
it'll
I
just be
mean,
the more,
regardless,
yeah,
yeah.
it'll be the more interesting movie, I think, and going into the reset, reboot, whatever Kevin Feige's calling it, I think it'll be interesting how they handle it. So yeah, I have it above. Um, moving on. Yeah, it's 9:40. Moving on. Beyond the Spider-Verse. For me, this is the number one, number one, number one, number one.
Yeah, I'll give it to that.
Just because for me, if this movie is an 8 or a 10, if it's an 8 out of 10 or above, this is my favorite trilogy of all time. Call me crazy, call me stupid, call me whatever. For me, it will be. The first two movies, the first one is a 10 out of 10 for me, and the second one is a 9.5 out of 10 for me. So if the third one is an 8.5 or above, like I can't think of any other trilogy other than the original Star Wars trilogy or the Planet of the Apes trilogy that I can think of that for me is in the contention. So it would be up there for me, probably number one. So yeah, for just because of the stakes it has on it for me personally, and because of just how good it's been
Yeah, I
culturally
think it
and
would
for the
be
character.
it'd be difficult for them to fuck this up at this point. They've set such an
Yeah,
amazing stage, and also they keep pushing back the release, which tells me that they're putting more time and effort into the animation and all that stuff. Like I feel like visually,
yeah,
there's no way this movie is going to be bad at this point with how long it's taken them to get out. Um, yeah, I'm just there's such great setup in the first two films leading up to this. It's obviously going to culminate in a really good movie. And I mean, for anybody who hasn't seen these movies, I know they're animated films, and like I've shown them to a couple people that just didn't watch it because it's an animated movie, and they're just like not hyped about
right.
the film in general. I've not, I've yet to show this to someone and not have them be blown away. Like these
Like blown
movies are
away
so
completely.
fucking
Yeah.
good. Um, you know,
I mean,
when
it's like art
I
on another
got
level, dude.
yeah, I got Chris and Sheba, my buddy and his girlfriend to we used to do like movie nights and stuff all the time, and I got them to watch the first two, and the first thing out of Sheba's mouth at the end was like, she was like, "When is the next one coming out?" Like she was like so hyped. She's like, "Can we go see that this year in theaters or whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh, they just pushed it back again. It's gonna be like another couple years before we can see it." Um, yeah, it's yeah. I mean, what a fucking brilliant franchise. So well done so far.
The writing is so smart. It's the best like multiverse shit we've gotten.
Yeah,
The changes to Miles's character from the comics makes him so much more interesting in this. The animation is like 10 out of 10. Like I don't think there's anything that's better animated on Earth.
yeah.
There's different styles, but as far as like actual quality, this is perfect. Um, and yeah, Miles is just such a great character, and it's just the
I have
music,
two things to say.
soundtrack is great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the soundtrack is phenomenal. I have two things to say that like sort of exemplify the quality of these films. For the second movie, when they introduce Spider Punk, they literally have him animated. So, for anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, they animate these movies on twos, which is like it looks like it's a little choppier, but it gives it like that sort of comic booky feel. So like instead of every frame being animated and moving, it's every other frame. When they show Spider Punk, he himself as a character is animated on twos. The outline around him is animated on threes, and his guitar is animated on fours. Think about the level of fucking detail that went into
Yeah.
just one character and just how they're animated. to really like hit home as to like how much they care about these films. Like just think about that. The
And the other
second
one
thing
before
is
we, yeah, was yours gonna be the Gwen thing?
no, that's great too. You can talk about that in a second. No, the other thing is that because this is a multiverse story, they actually released in theaters two different versions of the film where there is slightly different versions of scenes that came out in theaters. So like if you and I went and saw this movie in theaters, it depends on like what reel they were sent
Yeah,
to the theater, and like we may have seen a different movie. So like think about that. Like again, the level of detail and care that has gone into these films. Like they literally released two different movies that it's the same movie, but there's like little slight variations in line
of detail and
deliveries
stuff.
or the way somebody moves in a scene or whatever. Like there's multiple scenes that were different in the theatrical releases of the second movie. Like that's insane. Like who does that?
Yeah. And
So
then one thing
and
I was gonna
yeah,
say
Gwen's
before
whole
we move
thing.
on was the Gwen's whole world is like based off of emotion, and whenever people feel a certain way, it's like changes in color and like the palette, it
Yeah,
looks like watercolor and everything. It's just like, dude, yeah. When I first saw that in the theater, I was like, holy shit, like,
yeah,
what are we doing? This is crazy. Alrighty, we should move on if that's all right.
yeah.
Um,
Bottom of A.
Badlands. Okay, based exactly where I was gonna put it. Base.
Very excited for it. It
But
just
not more than
we're
this.
comic book nerds. It's not going
Yeah.
above anything we have on there aside from again that Ryan Gosling
Yeah.
Star Wars project might end up going a little higher later on when we get more details about it. But
Right.
um, you know, I love
Just
Predator as a
based off concept.
franchise. Prey was exceptional. The trailer for this looks really good, but it's not
Yep.
going to edge out anything DC, Marvel, or Star Wars for the most part. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Okay, we're on the same page exactly here. Um, moving on, we have the Street Fighter movie. For me, that's C. Like I don't like, I don't know, I don't
I
really know.
think it's going to be fun. Like I would put it below. Yeah, I'd put
In
it
the
in
air.
B.
Okay.
Yeah, like I think it's going to be fun and
Carl
silly
Urban's sick.
yeah, Carl Urban's
No.
awesome. I have you seen the trailer for it yet?
Yeah, it looks.
It
I
just looks
pulled it
so
up.
corny and fun. Like it's just I'm excited for it for that. Like it's just gonna be a really corny, silly, funny movie, and like it's gonna be one of those ones that I like, drag all my friends out to go see, and everybody but me gets hammered, and we just go and see it, and that kind of state.
Yeah,
That's
fun
gonna be
bad
it's
is what
gonna
you're
be
thinking.
it's gonna be a fun like fuck it, what are we doing tonight? Let's go watch this movie kind of film, and I'm very excited to have a fun night out with my friends, and just go and watch a movie that we have no
Totally fair.
expectations for, kind of thing. I'm excited for the experience more than the film itself.
Nice. The games are sick, by the way. Street Fighter 6 is what I have as the thing for, and that game's fucking sick.
Yeah,
Um, moving on, Invincible season 4 is gonna be third place for me. Do you agree? Disagree?
yeah, oh yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for me, I think it just edges out the Clayface just because like we've gotten 3 really good seasons, and like this show is so peak that like I can't put the Clayface concept over it. Um, yeah, Invincible. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. This shit is peak.
It's
Super
another
super
show
hype.
I've gotten a few people into, and
Nice.
um, actually, funny little quick story. My buddy Brendan moved out to a different city with his girlfriend, and the one day they were in town, and they came by, we hung out and whatever, and I think we went and did some. Oh, it was after our mutual friend's baby shower, I think is what it was. So they were in town for that, and then I was like, "Do you guys want to like hang out at my place?" They were like, "Sure." We went back to my place, and then I was like, "Oh, we should like just sit in the back room and just throw something on, whatever." And I was like, "Have you guys ever seen Invincible?" And they were both like, "No." And so I put on the first episode of Invincible, and for anybody that knows, spoiler warning for anybody that knows the series, the first episode is like it sets up
One
Mark
of the
Grayson
greatest
as a
first
character. Yeah,
episodes.
one of the greatest first episodes of anything. Sets up Mark Grayson as a character, a coming of age story where he's getting his superpowers, and his dad is like the most powerful superhero in the world, and all this shit. And then at the end
You
of
think
the
it's a kids
episode,
show, bro?
yeah,
You
you
think it's
think
a
it's a
kids
kids
show?
show, and then at the end of the episode, his dad, Omni Man, basically ruthlessly and brutally murders the entire, like, their version of the Avengers slash Justice League, whatever you want to compare it to. And he just like violently eviscerates all of them in this like crazy fight scene, and it's
Where
extremely
it's like
violent
he's
and
very
extremely gory.
calculated, but
Yeah,
he's very calculated, and like he's
yeah,
insane technique in the way that he fights, and you learn more about why
yeah,
he fights the way he fights. But yeah, the way he fights fucks people up, man. Like
yeah,
it's not no Superman fighting. He don't punch you. He slice you, and it's
yeah.
like
He
oof.
like literally like slices people with his hand type shit. Yeah, so we watched the episode. It, like, you could tell my buddy's girlfriend was like super into it, and then that fucking scene happens at the end, and the look of horror on her face, and then just being like, it was so funny, the juxtaposition of like Brendan was like enjoying the show, like the episode as it went on, and then at the end he's like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then his girlfriend being like, I was really, really enjoying the show, and then now what the fuck? And she was like, so like, I don't think put off by it, but just like, what the fuck was that kind of thing? And like,
That's
so
that was me too. So
yeah,
because I love the material of like superhero stuff, I was watching it and I was like, "Yo, this is sick." I was watching it on Amazon because it was something that popped up. I hadn't heard anything about it, so I was watching the first season and I was watching the first episode and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect." I think I watched the first season when I was like 15. It came out 16, something like that. Um, and I was like, "Yeah, this is sick." It's like it's probably more for like kids, but like it is like a little bit more like mature. Like the way that they're speaking is more like not super for kids. Like this is perfect for my age. And then boom, last 15 minutes, I was like, oh, like what the hell? Like
yeah,
this is crazy. Like what?
yeah. It was just such a
Yeah.
funny like the the complete difference between Brendan's reaction and his girlfriend's was so funny. And he ended up becoming a huge fan, and he was like, so he was like messaging me about the show throughout the coming weeks as he was catching up, and this was not that long ago, so I believe season 3 was like airing at the time, is why I like put it on for them.
Right.
um, I was like, oh, this could be a show you guys could watch together or whatever. And he was so hype about it. He was just like, I don't think my girlfriend's like super into it. I'm just gonna watch ahead of her, kind of thing. And she ended up like not watching the show like in its entirety. I think she watched the like part of the first season with him, and then he just went on and watched the whole thing by himself. And now he's like a huge fan of it. So yeah, I mean, that is one of those shows that like when you show it to somebody, like most people are gonna get like super into it. You know, David did the same
Yeah.
thing where he was like, he would like kind of dog on it for years, like not knowing what it was, like, oh, it's just this corny like superhero animated show. And then I don't know what brought him to watch the first episode, and he was like, holy shit. And then he was like, he literally apologized to me, and he was like, sorry for like shitting on that show, like I thought it was like, I thought it was like some completely different thing. And he was like, yeah, no, it's super good, and like I'm really into it. And yeah, it was very
Well,
funny.
we were talking about top five heroes. He's definitely not a hero, but Omni Man's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
He is so well written. He's definitely not a hero. He's not necessarily a villain. He's kind of in like
Spoilers for the comics, and I know you know this, but for anyone listening, if you aren't ahead, if you've only watched the show and you don't know anything that happens ahead of the show's timeline in the comics, he does very much become like a hero in the end.
right.
By the
But the
time,
way he's written and the fact that they got J.K. Simmons, it's fucking peak. It's
unbelievable.
fucking
Yeah,
peak.
yeah. The
Yeah.
whole
So,
cast of that show is so
oh,
good.
well,
You
that's where the
got,
budget went.
yeah, you got Steven
Oh,
Yeun as Mark Grayson, Invincible. You got so many great. I mean, like we said before, Mahershala Ali was in
Lee
season
was in the
one.
first season. Yeah.
Like they've got a really, really, really phenomenal cast. They got
Seth Rogen's in there.
Seth Rogen, the guy who played Negan, what's his fucking name? Jeffrey Dean
Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
Morgan. Yeah, he's
right? Jeffrey Dean. I think it's
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Dean
Dean.
Morgan, I think it is. Yeah,
He's
and
Conquest.
he's Conquest. Like, there's so many good voice actors in
Oh,
that
dude,
fucking show.
his speech before you move on. Oh, his speech where he's like, "I'm so lonely,
Yeah,
like I have no friends." I was like, "Yo, this guy's psycho, bro. Like
yeah.
what?
They
Like
couldn't have
what?
got somebody better to play like an absolutely unhinged psychopath, I
Like
think.
lunatic, yeah."
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's
Um,
yeah, just such a good show. I'm so excited for
so
season
peak.
4. Also, if you look at for anybody again who hasn't read the comics and has just watched the show, to give you a perspective of like where we're at in like the timeline of the show, we're like a third of the way into
Like a
the
quarter
comic book
veering on a
run.
third.
Yeah, a quarter veering on
Yeah.
a third. So like there will easily be 10 seasons of this show if they faithfully adapt the entire comic run. So I mean, I
Yeah, I know.
suspect there's going to be stuff that they cut out because they already kind of have with some stuff, but they've also set up storylines that don't
My
exist
guess
in the
is eight.
comics. Yeah. So we're
I don't
this
know if
is
we'll get double digits just because like they're not pumping them out every year. But I do
yeah.
think we'll get like eight. I think we're about halfway.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, anyways, this season will be more or less the halfway mark most likely. Um the halfway
Halfway
mark,
mark.
Grayson. Yeah. We had the same thought. That's so funny. Yeah, no, yeah, so just many more fun episodes to come with that show. Season 4 is
Nice.
going to be so good. I'm very excited. If you
Yeah.
again, if you know like where the show is going with the what happens in the comics,
Where
this
it's
next
going,
season
and with
should
the
be
new
very
stuff,
good.
as you said, with what they brought in with what's his name,
Damien
Blood,
Darkblood, yeah.
Dark Blood. Yeah. So very excited. Within the same Amazon sphere, The Boys, for me, this is going to be lower 100% than Invincible because, unlike Invincible, the show has decreased for me every season. It's not gotten bad. I just think every season's gotten a little
Every
worse. So
yeah, every season's been a slight step down. This
for
is going
me,
to be the last season of the show though.
yes.
So I think they're going to kind of come out swinging like very hard. Obviously
For
they've set
me,
up
it's
spin-offs
here,
with Gen V and all
Gen
that
Z,
stuff.
and yeah. For me, it's going
So
to be below any of the other movies, but it'll be like DC and Marvel stuff, but it'll be above Badlands, Street Fighter, and Starfighter. I don't know.
that's
What do you
fair.
think?
That's
Okay.
fair. I'm kind of in the same boat. What I am super excited for though is the prequel series that they're doing as a spin-off
Yes.
for
Soldier Boy.
Soldier
Right.
Boy and Stormfront and all those characters that were
Yeah.
around in the old era that is prior to when the show picks up in the first season. So I'm very excited for that. I'm more so excited for that than I am for season 5. But I do think season 5 is
Yeah.
going to be really good. I think they're going to close out the show in a really well done way. So
Yeah. All right. This next one's you, and then I have one on this list that's just me.
so going into this, we were like brainstorming like what's stuff that's been announced that we know is coming in the next couple years. And Declan and I were putting together a list, and I was like, "Oh, Spaceballs 2," and he's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "No way, you've never seen Spaceballs, bro. You're way too big a Star Wars fan to have not seen this movie." So definitely gonna make Declan do some homework and watch that
Yeah.
film.
So don't say anything. So I'm gonna go watch it. But so how
Yeah,
hyped are you for it? Where would you throw this?
unbelievably hyped, dude. The first movie is so fucking funny, and as a huge fan of comedy, both in stand-up format, podcasts, and film, um, I think we've kind of lost, movies that still hold up to this day that are so brilliant in the comedy section of film don't really get made anymore. Like you could not today make Tropic Thunder or the Austin Powers trilogy or any of those
Someone said
films.
this other day. Even Step Brothers.
Even Step Brothers kind of toes that line. Super bad.
That was
All
not
of
that
the
long ago.
best like comedy films of all time have kind of we've kind of entered this cultural shift where they're not like I saw this thing recently where if you go and watch the Rush Hour movies on streaming
Mhm.
platforms, there's like straight up a disclaimer that says like 90s buddy comedies were it was a different time, and like like they're literally warning you like they're gonna make some jokes that are like not socially acceptable or whatever. I think that's bullshit. I think the whole thing about comedy is you're supposed to push the envelope, and I think that people that don't understand that you're allowed to, take Tropic Thunder for instance. Obviously, blackface is bad. Don't do blackface. However, Robert Downey Jr. in blackface in that movie is making fun of somebody who would do that in Hollywood. And like
Right.
the whole point is like poking holes in like poking fun at the concept of doing it because it's so outlandish and ridiculous. And the fact that you can't push the envelope like that anymore is like kind of really sad, and Spaceballs was part of that era of like peak comedy films, and was
Mm,
part of the era of peak parody films where it's just making fun of an established franchise. And fuck, John Candy was in that fucking movie.
oh, rip.
Rest in
Legend.
peace. Yeah, and so like, Mel Brooks obviously was the guy behind the whole thing, and he's an absolute legend. So many amazing, talented, funny, comedic actors were in that film, and it's just so good, and it's so perfectly captures the essence of Star Wars in such a perfect way to set up making fun of it, while also kind of paying homage to it. And I mean, they teased the second film in the first movie, which came out decades ago. So, I mean, it's just really cool to see them bring this back and do it again. Declan and I were talking off air, like, there's obviously a lot more for them to make fun of now with the
Yeah.
sequel trilogy was like not very well received, as well as the prequel trilogy at the time was really not well received, and then now has kind of grown on people.
Aged better, yeah.
So I think, the original movie came out when there was only the original trilogy, and so there's just so much more for them to pull from now. Even with the Mandalorian and all these shows and stuff, like they can make fun of all of
Right.
it, and there's so many good jokes to be made. I'm just really hyped for a peak era of comedy film to get a sequel now. And I mean, Mel Brooks is behind it again. I can't see them pulling their punches, and I really do think it is going to like push the envelope again, and I think it's what like the comedy film franchise has needed for a long
Space.
time. And yeah, I'm like super hyped on this. This is going in S tier for me, and we can put it at bottom of S just because you don't really have a frame of reference for how
Yeah.
much to be excited for it. I would
But it's
probably
up
put
there,
it
is what you're
ahead
saying.
of
We can
Batman
put it on Batman.
personally.
Right.
But yeah,
That's fine with me.
it's just I'm so excited for that, and you and I have to watch Spaceballs together, and then we'll talk about it on a later episode because it obviously pertains to what we do here, and we
Cool.
cover a lot of Star Wars stuff, and the fact that you haven't seen that, like, I mean, we have to watch that movie.
Bet. Okay. All right. Well, moving on from Spaceballs, we have The Odyssey, which for me I think is probably number two, just because
Yeah,
it's Christopher Nolan. Is that a fair placement?
100%. Love Nolan. Love
I
everything he
love.
does.
I don't think it for me it edges out just because
No,
I said how much Spider Verse like means to me, how
same.
much that trilogy is like means to me, that character means to me. Yeah, I just don't know if that I can like this is just a concept. Like we've seen the trailer that you can go see, by the way, only in theaters because he's the GOAT and you can only go watch his trailer in the theaters because it makes you go watch movies.
Yeah,
Fucking legend, love him. The trailer is like a nothing burger of a trailer. Like it looks cool and whatever, but you don't really get to get an idea of what's gonna happen. But it's
which is
Christopher
how
Nolan
Christopher
doing
Nolan
the
does
yeah,
things. He doesn't want
absolutely.
you to
But it's
know. And I mean, it's funny because this is the one movie he could kind of spoil the
right
plot a
because it's
little bit
already been
because
written.
it's one of the oldest fucking stories ever.
Yeah,
So it is, but
and funny
obviously
in
he's
that
going to
sense. But yeah,
do his own thing with it too. And what a
yeah.
amazing star studded cast that's going to be in that.
Amazing star-studded cast. Obviously, as you said, one of the oldest stories ever. and it's directed by, like, in my opinion, the GOAT. If not
Definitely one of the
top
greatest,
three,
yeah,
top three
alive.
directors
Yeah.
alive. So yeah, I mean, got to go there for me. Not too much else to say. But go watch a movie in the theaters and go watch the trailer.
Yeah, that is the only place you can catch it right now. He doesn't believe
Yeah,
in releasing theatrical
like on,
trailers on
yeah,
like
YouTube and stuff.
YouTube and shit. Yeah, so
Yeah,
go pay for a fucking movie. A lot of what
yeah,
we do here is like based on our love of these franchises and stuff, and ticket sales for films are like way down. It's still
right.
fun to go see a movie.
With your
Go
friends, go
go
do it.
to
It's
a
fun.
restaurant, go to happy hour, get drunk, go watch a fucking movie. It's still a good time. You know, I see films in theaters all the time still. It's still fun. You know, like go and support your local theater, watch a movie. It's still fun. I know you have a 4K TV at home. Fucking go to a movie theater. It's still a
Yeah,
better experience.
different experience, and it's better.
Just
Yeah,
my little PSA to everybody out there, like we don't want all this to go away, which is like what's going to happen, or just to have everything go straight to streamers and like the quality of shit to go down. Like that is what's going to happen if the film franchise just like doesn't,
yeah.
you know, or the film
It is a
industry part
business,
of me
right?
just doesn't do as well in the ticket sales. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
it is a
we've
business. They want to make money and profit. So
yeah,
at
and
the end of
Declan
the
and I
day,
have
we still
talked
have
about
to
this
do it.
before, but like movies used to make a big chunk of change on ticket sales in the box office, and then they'd make all their money on the back end with DVD sales and stuff. And now that that's gone by the wayside, and movies
Yeah,
come
you
out
really
to
got to support
streamers
them.
like 3 months later, you gotta
Got to
go and
support
see
them in
these
theater.
movies in theaters, or they're just not gonna
Yeah,
make the movies that they used to. And I think a lot of people are complaining about how the quality of shit has gone down. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff on this list kind of proves that that's not universally the case. There's a lot of really cool shit that's been announced and that's coming, but you have to support these films. If you're excited about something, go and see it at the movie theaters,
yeah,
or it is going to continuously be a lower and lower percentage of films that are worth seeing at all, you know? So,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, good point. Moving on, Dune Part 3. I don't know if that's what it's gonna be called, I'm assuming. Um, do you want to take the stage for this one? Where would you place this?
I admittedly haven't seen the second one. I fell asleep during
Oh,
it
okay.
and never like watched the second one. I don't dislike the franchise. It just like it doesn't like grip me the
Do
same
you
way that a lot of people had the reaction to it. I liked the first one. I like it's just I've been meaning to go back and properly watch part two because I said I fell asleep in the first like half hour of it and I just never went back and watched it. Um,
so yeah, I'm gonna have a really hot take here for someone who has seen the second one and the first one. For me, it's gonna be right above The Boys' final season, but it's gonna be below everything else here. Um, and for me, it's just the first movie for me was terribly boring. It wasn't bad, it was just super boring. And the second movie was really, actually, really fucking good. I just think the universe is kind of just whatever. And I think it's kind of a weird concept because for me, the Star Wars universe and the world building and the world around Star Wars is what makes Star Wars for me. And that's what I think is like the best part of it. And it's funny to see that like Dune has better writing and better acting and whatever than Star Wars has ever had, or has had in the last 20 years. Um, Yet the world around it I don't vibe with nearly as much, and the
Well, it's worth
characters.
saying that Star Wars George Lucas took a huge amount of inspiration from Dune. It's the reason why Tatooine was a
Yeah,
setting in the original trilogy and the prequels, um,
I
with the
don't want to
whole
say he did
desert
it
vibe.
better.
And
I
he
just
also,
prefer it more.
well, I think it was just built upon with George Lucas, and I think he
Yeah.
fleshed out a more lived-in universe. But
So I
he
can
the
respect.
framework of that was Dune. Like if not for Dune, we
Yeah,
wouldn't have Star Wars as it is. Um, you know, even
but
down
it
to
yeah
like they
it's just
call the
less.
drugs spice, like in Star
Yeah.
Wars, like it's straight up like pulling right from Dune for a lot of concepts and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it is worth saying that. But yeah, I mean, I had kind of the same reaction to the first one. I was like, it's cool, but I was kind of bored, and that was why like when I fell asleep at the beginning of the second movie. I just didn't bother to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
Which that's on my list. I will go back and do that.
Yeah, you should go do that, and actually, we'll talk about it on another episode. So yeah, we can move on. But I did want to say, like, I can respect that it was very high quality, from the cinematography to the acting was all very great. It's just the actual story being told and what they're pulling from in not environment, that world that they're pulling from, just doesn't interest me nearly as much as, like, even Star Trek, and definitely not Star Wars. But I can appreciate that those two movies are probably better written and shot than anything Star Wars or Star Trek in the last, like, 20 years. It's just not for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
So
I'm
for me,
I'm
it'll
with
be
you.
low A, in there, because I am still excited. It's just not up there with everything else that I know I'm gonna like, kind of thing. Moving on, this is the one that I had. This is partially a reason why Beyond the Spider-Verse was delayed. This is by the exact same studio that's doing them, the exact same animators. It's a movie called GOAT. It's part directed by Steph Curry. If you don't know who that is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And go watch the trailer. It sounds really goofy from what I just described, but go watch the trailer and you're gonna actually be blown away. I'll show you it after we go off air. I want to show you that before I cut out.
I've seen it.
Um,
It
oh,
looks
you
really
have?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is part of the reason why this got delayed, which is a little bit of a bummer, but does look really sick, and I'm excited for it.
I'm not a sport ball guy. I know I'm
But
wearing a
that being
Jays
said,
hat. Was born in
yeah,
Toronto. I do like watching sports occasionally, but I'm not a huge sport ball guy. Um,
for me that's low
yeah,
A as well. I'm gonna say it would be like just
it
above
looks really
Badlands.
good. Like it does look really good. I'll probably go
Mhm.
see that with you.
Yeah,
Um,
cool. Yeah,
but I'm just not going to be as hyped for it as you are,
yeah,
as
it's just not
somebody who
your
doesn't
flavor,
follow sports really.
right? So yeah, I wanted to throw that on here on this list just because I thought it, like, hey, if you're gonna have the people who animated the greatest thing that's ever been animated, like, okay, as long as there's a decent story behind it and it's sport related, I'm in. For me personally,
Yeah.
it sold me. So yeah, that'll be low A. Moving on, I wanted to throw these on here. I have Shrek 5 and Toy Story 5. For me, Toy Story 5's a D.
Yeah.
They
Don't give
shouldn't
a
have made
shit.
the fourth one.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have made the fourth one. The first three is one of the greatest trilogies of all time. I was talking about that earlier with Beyond and bringing up the Apes
Do you know
trilogy
who
and
agrees with you?
stuff. Quentin Tarantino,
Quentin
I know.
Tarantino. Yeah,
He's a,
Quentin
he's a
Tarantino is
genius.
like that's the best trilogy, which
Yeah,
is
it is.
hilarious
It
because
is.
it's
The
so
third
out of left
movie is.
field for someone like him. But I mean,
It
it really is that good.
really
And
is
the
that
fourth
the
one
third movie.
isn't bad. It's just like it ended so
Why?
beautifully
Yeah,
in the
like
third one.
why?
It's like there was no reason to return to that. There's no reason to return to this. Like
Yeah,
I don't know why this needs to even be made, but
agreed. But on the other end, Shrek 5, that's got to be up there somewhere, right? That's
I
hype.
totally disagree. I'm less
Oh,
hyped for that than Toy Story, to be honest. I think the same thing of like the first Shrek movie is so iconic, and like keep in mind I grew up with all these films. Like again, I remember
yeah.
going to see the first Shrek in theaters. I remember going to see the second Shrek in theaters. Um, by the time like the second one was also good, the third one had already started to fall off. The fourth one, I couldn't even tell you anything about it. Like, and I have seen it. It's just like so not memorable that like I
That's funny
just
you say that.
don't
I
give a
can't
shit.
either, actually, from that one.
Yeah, like tell me plot point of
I
Shrek
don't know.
4. Like I don't even remember anything from it. It's so not memorable.
Can we
Yeah,
can we
I'm just
compromise on a C?
yeah, that's fine. You can
Okay,
even
I'm
put
more
it in the
excited than.
bottom of B, or you can put it
No,
wherever
it's
you
because
want.
it's
I
not.
could
It's
not give less of a shit about it, and it looks so much like, you know, David and I were
the
making fun of the trailer.
animation. Yeah,
It's not even the fucking animation. It's just like it looks like they're just gonna lean so hard into like, you know, the magic mirror is like TikTok now and like shit. It's like it just looks like it's so catered to like your generation and younger. It's like I don't know how I'm gonna even enjoy that. Like I don't
sure.
have TikTok. I'm not, you know, like I'm not savvy
Yeah,
with any of this shit. I'm too old for that shit. You know, so
sure.
I don't have any interest in that movie whatsoever.
Moving on, we have Hail Mary. Have you seen the trailer for this? This is the one also with Ryan Gosling.
No.
So, I guess I'll show you that after. But the concept of this is basically a scientist, or they found an anomaly where a bunch of suns surrounding our galaxy are dying, and ours is kind of next on the chopping block. And
Yes,
obviously,
I did see this. I did see this
okay, yeah,
trailer.
I'm very excited for this. This looks super sick.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought it looked really
not
good
like
too.
not more than anything I can say like high in A or whatever. So I'm gonna put it just above the boys' final season, but it's gonna be below Dune and the rest of a lot for me.
Yeah, I
I
agree
don't
with
know what you
that.
think.
It looks
Okay.
cool. It looks like it's going to be a
Yeah.
fun movie. Um, I kind of, from the trailer and my vibe I got from it, it seems like again one of those movies I'm just going to go see that it's like I'm not going to really go in with any like big expectations or anything. I think it's just going to be something fun to watch. But I don't think it's going to be like an Interstellar or like a
Right.
The Martian or like anything in that same kind of vein. Like I think it's trying to be like that, and I don't think it's gonna hit that mark. But I do think it's gonna be just like a fun movie to go see. So
Right. I'm curious because I know your thoughts on the last one. What do you think of? Have you seen the Tron Ares trailer?
yeah, it looks good.
It looks good,
It
but
looks
I don't know how
good.
to feel because it's like it's been a while.
Can I
Where
tell a
would you
quick
put
funny
this?
story about? So I used to live in Ottawa. Well, okay, I lived in like a town outside of Ottawa in the middle of the country, and I worked in Canada, which is like borders on Ottawa, is like attached to Ottawa basically. And when I was so when I moved out there, I was living with my uncle out in like the country, and it was like a far trek to get to and from work. And my cousin and I worked at the same restaurant, and him and I ended up later getting our own apartment when my uncle moved back to London. And for that few months period when I lived out in the middle of fucking nowhere, there were a lot of times our house was like the fun place to hang out because we're in the middle of the country. There's nobody around. We could smoke weed and do whatever the fuck we wanted. And my uncle didn't really give a shit what we did. So a lot of my friends would come hang out with us after work and stuff like that. So anytime there was a time where like um, my cousin and I were like finishing our shifts before our friends that worked with us, and we would wait for them to get off, or we'd wait for my uncle to be able to drive us back out to the country because it was like otherwise we were biking like 29 kilometers or something like that to and from work. So like nearly a 60-kilometer bike ride in a day kind of thing, right? So there were plenty of times where we'd be waiting for a ride back to our house, and there was a movie theater just up the street from our restaurant we worked at. So my cousin and I would go see movies like all the time just to pass time. Like it like, oh, we have like 3 hours to wait until we can get a ride home. Let's just go watch a movie, right? So we went and saw the original, or not the original, but the last Tron movie, the original and the reboot, um, when it came out in theaters, and it was like opening week of this movie. And at that time, this is when like real D 3D movies was like a new thing, and or a relatively new thing. And so we go into the theater to go watch this movie, and we're sitting in like the back row, and we got the 3D. You know, that's one of those movies you want to see in 3D, right? So
Right.
there was like a disclaimer right when the movie started, and it was like it said not all scenes in this movie are shot in 3D. This is intentional, something along those lines. And I just yelled out to the whole packed theater of people. I was like, "Well, that's bullshit. I paid for 3D." And the entire fucking theater like erupted in laughter. Like everybody's laughing at like my stupid corny joke, and it was like one of my favorite like little experiences at a movie theater was just making a whole theater of strangers like laugh their asses off at right at the beginning of a film. And I feel like I genuinely had like a positive effect on the like people's like experience
Viewing
of the movie.
experience.
Yeah, like we, because it's right at the beginning, like it set people up to be in sort of like a good mood going into the beginning of the film, and it was just hilarious.
Right.
So yeah, a little side story there, but I had a
Sure.
really really funny experience watching the first one. So Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
excited
the
for it.
trailer
The
looks sick.
trailer looks really good.
I have it above Hail Mary and below Dune.
Yeah, that's about where I'd
Yeah.
put it. It's not going to be the fucking coolest movie ever. It's
Right.
the
Exactly.
the franchise is like inherently like corny and silly and like whatever,
Exactly.
but it does look really cool. The trailer even kind of leaned into that, where it's like it almost was taking itself too seriously, kind of thing, and I was
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
laughing watching it.
Yeah.
But again,
Same.
that's going to be another movie where it's like, let's all go to happy hour. And again,
Right. And
I'm
then go
sober,
watch
but
Tron.
all my friends will get drunk and we'll go watch that movie, and it'll be a fun time. So,
Right.
yeah,
All right. And then to close it out, we have Fire and Ash, which I know for you has got to be pretty high up there.
I really liked Way of Water. I thought it was a
I
really
did too.
really
So I
good
got around to
movie.
watching it. I was like bare late on it. I liked it more than the first one.
Oh, it's so much better than the
Um,
first one.
I would probably put it like above Spaceballs, below Clayface.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. Yeah, Fire
Yeah,
and Ash,
so
pretty hyped.
dude,
Obviously,
the
massive budget, looks incredible.
did you know with Way of Water, you know how they're all wearing the fucking oxygen masks, all the human characters throughout the film?
Yeah.
Did you know there was no glass in those masks?
Huh.
The glass in the masks was CGI'd in, and all the water spray and water droplets and all of that shit on them was 100% CG.
Damn.
Dude, now if you rewatch that movie, you'll be like, bro, he's lying. Like, it looks so fucking real, dude. But here's the thing: is like James Cameron with
Yeah,
the
he's crazy
first
with that shit.
movie, that was the best CG that had ever been done when the first one came out, like by a long shot. Like
Yeah.
nothing like that had ever been done
What
before.
was that, 2011?
Yeah, I want to say 2011, 2012. And he literally waited this long to continue the franchise, even though he had written other movies to do,
Right.
because he wanted to wait until there was a point where he could do that
Shit like
significant
that.
of a push forward with the technology. And he just couldn't do
Yeah,
that
dude,
right off the
where they
back
were
of the second
recording
one.
is crazy. They like borrowed like a military simulation thing where they have like fake waves and stuff. And they were like borrowing like they built a whole like underground, or like not underground, but it was like half underground like water tank where they were able to
Yeah.
film. Yeah, like
Dude,
he was
Kate
pushing the
Winslet,
limits.
I believe it was Kate Winslet, but somebody on set, I believe it was Kate Winslet, set like a fucking record for holding their breath underwater filming that.
Yeah, damn, that's
Like,
crazy.
there's
Yeah.
so much, like, blood, sweat, and tears went into that movie, and, like, it was just so good. Like, everything
It
about it
hyped
was
it
so
along.
good. I'm very excited to see.
Yeah.
So, and also, as we've stated before, go see a movie in theaters, but really go see this one, because if you're a fan of this franchise, do not wait until it comes out on streaming platforms. Go and see it in theaters for two reasons. One, these movies are made to be seen in like IMAX. Like, they're, if you
Yeah.
don't know, like the aspect ratio of movies that you watch on like a regular screen is
And
different than from
audio too, by the
IMAX.
way.
Right, but just there's like the border edge of what's on screen is cut off when it's shifted to the aspect ratio you'd watch on your television at home. So when you
Right.
watch something in IMAX, there's actually more shit on the screen, and these movies are meant to be seen in that aspect ratio where like there is shit that you will just not see in the corners of shots when you watch it at home. And so just for that aspect alone, like these movies are made to be seen in IMAX and preferably IMAX 3D. I implore
And it
you to
cost them
watch it in
probably
that
like
way.
$1 billion.
But for the other reason is that he has written 5 films. So this will be the third installment.
Right.
The the everything hinges on him closing off the franchise with this film or doing the other two based on the ticket sales of this movie.
Well, that's
So
what I
if
was gonna
this
say.
movie
These
doesn't
movies
make
cost
enough
so much
money,
to make.
yeah. If this
Yeah.
movie doesn't make enough money at the box office, they're just not going to do the other two, which means
Right.
this movie is going to more or less close out the story for the
And it'll probably
characters
be
that we've
less
been introduced
meaningful.
to like thus far. But no, because the story is written the same either way. He wrote it in such a way that it's like this could
Oh,
end the franchise, or we can pick up again and do 2 more films. But Those
Okay.
two movies are not going to get made if this movie doesn't do well at the box office. Go see this fucking movie, dude. Like for
Mhm.
real. If you don't like the franchise, that's fine. I'm not gonna be like go get a ticket to
Yeah.
something you don't give a shit about. But if you like this franchise and you're like, I'll just wait till it comes out at home, fuck
Go
that,
watch
bro.
it. Yeah.
Go see this
Go
movie.
watch it.
Like, go see this movie just for the sake of like, if you're a fan of this franchise, you want two more movies to get made, go buy a ticket to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
All
very
right.
excited for that. It looks really good.
I agree. Well, there you go. There's our list. For a bunch of great stuff that's coming out over the next couple of years. Super hyped. We're eating. We'll probably get some stuff that gets pushed back, and then in the same vein, get some stuff that gets announced. So, yeah, all very exciting. Are you good to wrap there? I gotta go to the washroom and stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm good. We sorry again for anyone that's
Yeah,
made it
sorry
this
for the
far
late
that we
release,
pushed the release back to.
but we'll be good this week on being on time, and then hopefully there's a bonus episode where I'm at Comic-Con in London with Ryan at the booth, and that'll be sick. And then the following week, I want to do our King the Hill episode that we didn't get around to as a bonus episode, or maybe we'll do that as a normal episode. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll
Cool.
our little gauntlet episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, leave a comment if you want to see us do that as like a bonus episode, or we can just kind of slot it in with our regular episode. If all we have to talk about next week
Is the
is
Peacemaker and Alien?
Peacemaker and Alien, we might just do it as
Do
part
that.
of that episode and do like a longer episode like this one. But yeah, let us know what you think and what you're excited for, and then leave a comment. What's the most excited, or what
Yeah.
project out of
What are
this
your
list
top
is are
three?
you most excited of? Yeah,
Give us
exactly.
your top three. So for us, our top three is Beyond the Spider-Verse, The Odyssey, and Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Two Spider-Man
Two
movies.
Spider-Mans in one.
But yeah, I think that would act like that would be my top three. But that's your top three too. We agree with that.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
no,
Yeah. Yeah. Very excited for those three things. And obviously everything in S here I'm excited for, and most of the stuff in A I'm super excited for. So yeah.
hell yeah, no, yeah, I'm super hyped on most of this stuff. Pretty much just Shrek and Toy Story. I don't give a shit about. Pretty much
Right.
everything else I will go see in the theaters or catch on streamer as soon as it comes out, and most of this stuff we will be covering as well.
100%.
If not all of it, again, aside from
Pretty much
Shrek and
everything
Toy
that's on
Story,
too. Yeah.
even if we just talk about it for 15 minutes or something, like with something like Avatar
Or
or
Goat.
Tron or Goat or something that's not really in the sphere of what we usually spend longer covering, we will be talking about all of this stuff as we watch
At
it
some point.
and give you our review. And yeah,
Yeah.
so let us know what you think is the most exciting three things on this list. If we missed anything, you
Let
can
us
add
know
it to
as well. Yeah.
your top three, and yeah, just leave a comment.
Cool.
But yeah,
All
thank you
right.
everyone for tuning in,
Love
and
y'all, and we'll see you. We'll be recording the episode in a couple days, but you'll get it on the Sunday. So
yes, sir.
cool.
Signing off.
And a bit. Peace.